Chapter 251. There are people we need to teach a lesson, meow. So you're telling me that Gagel's people are attacking you because they're trying to plant strange plants on the fourth floor of the tower, meow. Yes, that's correct. They have already conquered the second and third floors of the tower and said they would continue ascending after conquering the fourth floor. Hack, unforgivable, meow. I'll teach Gagel a lesson, meow. Theo, having heard the words of the black skeleton Onik, snarled in anger. It was because Gagel dared to try to conquer the tower. The tower is already conquered by Chairman Park, meow. To Theo, the highest rank in the tower belonged to Sejun. Therefore, Gagel's actions were an invasion of the tower conquered by Sejun. And that's an insult to me, Theo Park, the golden cat and right-hand man of Chairman Park, meow. It was absolutely unacceptable for them to disrespect Sejun and him and try to take over the land arbitrarily. Heck. While the furious Theo struggled to calm his emotions. Kaiwo. There was another enraged being. It was Yona, who had been quietly listening from Theo's tale. How dare they mess with Sejun tilde Nim? In Yona's view, the highest rank in the tower belonged to the great black dragon Aileen. Although Yona didn't see Sejun as the highest authority in the Black Tower like Theo, messing with Sejun meant messing with Theo, Sejun's right-hand man. And messing with Theo means messing with me. The more she thought about it, the angrier she got. Kaiwo. As Yona's anger level rose. Kaiwo. What's that sound? Paku suddenly asked another monster about the noise that had just started. This is the third stage of Kaiwo of Rage. We're all doomed. A monster, terrified, pointed at the small white hamster on Theo's tail and responded. Kaiwo of Rage, hey, why are you freaking out over one hamster? Huh, a white hamster making a Kaiwo sound. Paku belatedly realized what the Kaiwo of Rage meant. It was the sound made by Yona, the wizard of destruction, when she became angry. The third stage of Kaiwo of Rage could at least destroy a city. Rabbit City was a metropolis, so it wouldn't be entirely destroyed. However, since they were right next to her, there was no chance of survival for them. At that moment, Kaiwo. Goo! The magic of the angry Yona began to affect the surroundings, and small stones started to levitate. Shiver. We're all going to die. As the monsters resigned themselves to their fate. Meow, Jonah, calm down, meow. Kaiwo, yes. Fortunately, Theo, sensing something was wrong, calmed Yona down. And then, Onik, come with me, and the rest of you wait here, meow. Yes. The monsters, happy to be able to distance themselves from Yona, responded. Clatter. Only Onik, trembling with fear, followed Theo and Yona towards the White Castle. Our Kyungi ate a lot. As Sejun took out a carrot cake. Kroong. Kyungi will enjoy this meal. Thump. Swoosh. The carrot cake floated in the air and entered Kyungi's mouth. Nom. Kyueheb Kroong. Haha, it's delicious. Kyungi was happy eating the carrot cake. Really fascinating. Try eating another one, Kyungi. To observe Kyungi's ability, Sejun kept offering more food. Kyungi, who had been in a semi-conscious state adapting to his new power, woke up and unlocked a new talent. That ability was telekinesis. Thump. Thanks to this, Kyungi could now lift the carrot cake into his mouth without touching it. And then, Vitality. You have used Vitality LV1. It rapidly digests the food in your stomach. All stats increase by 1% for 60 minutes. Sejun was feeding Kyungi while digesting the alien's healthy meatball. Although there was a limit to the maximum amount of food he could digest, requiring him to use the skill every hour, it was a minor inconvenience. However, thanks to the Vitality skill, Sejun was now able to eat up to 5 of alien's healthy meatball per day. At that moment, your proficiency in Vitality LV1 has been filled and the level has increased. The proficiency of the Vitality skill was filled, increasing its level. Skill Vitality LV 2. Quickly digests the remaining food in the stomach to gain vitality. The speed of food digestion is doubled, and strength, stamina, agility, and magic power are increased by 2%. The duration is determined based on the amount of food remaining in the stomach, maximum 70 minutes. Thanks to the enhanced vitality skill, the amount of food Sejun could digest increased, and now it seemed he could eat 10 of Aileen's healthy meatball per day. Sejun wasn't concerned about the 2% stat increase. After all, a slight increase in already weak stats would hardly make a noticeable difference. Hehe, almost finished eating them all. Sejun looked at the remaining Aileen's healthy meatball. There were 19 left. Once he ate all of them, he would be free from Aileen's healthy meatball, and all his stats would increase by 100. Hehe. Qehe. Thus, Sejun and Kyungi laughed for different reasons. When Kyungi had eaten a few more carrot cakes. Thud thud. Kroong. Kyungi is sleepy. Kyungi, rubbing his eyes, snuggled up to Sejun. Still not accustomed to using telekinesis, Kyungi quickly felt tired. Shall we sleep then? Feeling full, Sejun quickly picked up Kyungi and lay down on the bed, making a pillow with his arm for Kyungi. A little while later. Snore. Kurorong. The room was filled only with the snoring sounds of Sejun and Kyungi. Creak. The door opened and someone entered. Meow, Chairman Park, are you sleeping? Meow. It was Theo. Kaiwat, Vice Chairman Theo were sleeping too. Yona, whose original goal was to sleep, said. Hut, let's do that. Meow. Theo, whose life goal was to claim Sejun's lap, quickly took his place on Sejun's lap following Yona's words. Snore. Gororong. Kurorong. Kurorong. The room was now filled with everyone sleeping snores. Clatter. Black skeleton Onik, left alone, carefully moved to lie on the floor without making noise. And then, sneakily, Sejun's shadow began to move. All right. Kurorong. Sejun, waking up, carefully lifted Kyungi's head resting on his arm and got up. Gororong. Kurorong. Ha, Theo and Yona. He heard the snoring sounds of Theo and Yona. As Sejun's gaze turned towards his lap, he saw Theo sleeping on his lap and Yona curled around Theo's tail. Where did he pick this up from? Theo's fur, which was yellow before sleep, had turned black. As Sejun reached out to inspect what was on Theo's fur. Slither. Ugh. The black substances that Sejun touched started to be absorbed into his hand. More precisely, they merged with his shadow. What's this? While Sejun hesitated in confusion. Sneakily, small blobs of shadow about 5 cm in size began to detach from Sejun's shadow and began to stick back onto Theo's fur one by one. And the shadow blobs touching Theo's fur, they moved somewhat cutely as they wriggled. Aileen, what is this? Sejun pointed at the shadow blobs with his finger, careful not to touch them with his shadow, and asked Aileen. The tower's administrator says that these are shadow minions, and they will not harm anything their master does not wish to harm, so you can rest assured. Aileen explained the nature of the shadow blobs. Are these shadow minions? But wasn't it said that summoning was impossible due to a lack of magic power? Shadow minions. Sejun attempted to summon the shadow minions again. However, you lack the magic power to summon shadow minions. The summoning failed again. Then what are these ones out here? As Sejun wondered, the tower's administrator says that according to Grandpa, Dark, God of Darkness, was a cat lover. The tower's administrator says that the shadow minions influenced by God of Darkness seem to be mimicking Dark's behavior. So they are like this because he liked cats. Aileen clarified Sejun's question. And then, so even without enough magic power I can summon shadow minions. Hi there, guys. Sejun, happy to have found a way to summon shadow minions without using magic power, greeted them, but The shadow minions ignored Sejun's words. Do they not understand me? As Sejun observed the shadow minions clinging to Theo. Meow, Chairman Park, you're awake, meow. Theo woke up and greeted Sejun. And then, what's this, meow? Get off me, meow. Theo shouted at the shadow minions clinging to his body. Slither. The shadow minions distanced themselves from Theo. Huh. That's when Sejun noticed something strange. Why did it seem like they understood speech? Vice Chairman Theo, tell them to form a line. Meow, okay meow, line up meow. Whoosh. Following Theo's command, the shadow minions neatly formed a line. Well, look at these guys. HMPH, they don't listen to me but follow Theo's commands. Sejun laughed, looking at the vexing shadow minions. Well then, let's put Theo to use and make the most of them. Vice Chairman Theo, tell one of them to bring a spoon over there. Understood, meow. You go and bring that spoon, meow. Whoosh. Sure enough, the shadow minion obediently followed Theo's command. Sejun, through Theo, tested and assessed the capabilities of the shadow minions. Although they couldn't exert strong force, as they weren't summoned by magic power, they were capable of running errands. While testing what the shadow minions could do. Clatter. The black skeleton Anik, who had been sleeping on the floor, hurriedly got up, thinking he needed to show prompt action as he was the lowest in the hierarchy there. And then, Aya. Sejun, startled by Anik's sudden appearance, screamed in shock. Kroong kroong. What's happening, Dad? Did you scare my dad? Hearing Sejun's scream, Kyungi quickly got up to check the surroundings, and, perceiving Anik as the most hostile-looking, attempted to kill him using telekinesis. Meow, Kyungi, stop, meow. Kroong. Luckily, Theo, sensing Kyungi's power, intervened and stopped Kyungi. Greetings, I am Black Skeleton Anik from the 4th floor of the tower. Thanks to this, Anik, unaware that an immense power had just passed by his shoulders moments ago, was able to kneel and greet Sejun. Externally, he seemed the weakest, but given the surroundings and Theo's demeanor, he appeared to be of the highest rank. Anik did have good sense. Ahem, so you're Anik? Yes. But why are you in our room? Chairman Park, I brought him here, meow. Theo answered Sejun, who was puzzled. Vice Chairman Theo, why? Listen to what Anik has to say, meow. There are people we need to teach a lesson, meow. People we need to teach a lesson. Yes, meow. Anik, tell Chairman Park quickly, meow. Yes, I am here because humans belonging to a place called Gagel. Anik explained the situation on the 4th floor of the tower. So, Gagel is trying to take over the 4th floor, and you came here to gain the power to oppose them by obtaining the Dragon Warrior helmet. Yes. That's it, meow. Ahem. Sejun fell into thought. At that moment, the tower's administrator reports that a green alarm has appeared. Aileen spoke up. A green alarm, could it be the 4th floor? The tower's administrator confirms it. The tower's administrator appoints you as the mid-level administrator of the tower to prevent the extinction of the black skeletons in the black graveyard of the 4th floor. You will be transported to the black graveyard of the 4th floor in 30 seconds. You may bring your subordinates with you. Please designate which subordinates will accompany you. Got it. Sejun quickly selected the animals and the black skeleton Anik, and transporting to the black graveyard of the 4th floor. You cannot leave more than 100 meters from the black graveyard. Sejun and the animals disappeared. Pip pip. Leaving behind only the golden bat. Sejun, who hadn't seen the golden bat on his back, didn't notice. Thanks to this, the golden bat was able to tell the others where Sejun had gone. TL, poor golden bat, always forgotten. Chapter 252. Are you really going to fight with that? 4th floor of the tower. The Crash Guild, called by Gagel's vice chairman Michael. The 20 members of the Crash Guild, upon arriving at the 4th floor of the tower, headed straight to the black graveyard guarded by black skeletons and immediately attacked them. Ha, bring it on. Knights protect the king. Clatter, clatter. 500 black skeletons emerged to confront the 20 members of the Crash Guild. However, while the average level of the black skeletons was 20, the average level of the Crash Guild was 50. Haha, it's fun crushing them. Crack. The black skeletons were no match for the Crash Guild. It was a one-sided massacre. Retreat. As the black skeletons realized they were no match, they retreated. The Crash Guild members were unscathed, whereas only about 100 black skeletons survived. The Crash Guild was indeed powerful. And then, should we pursue them? No, they must be highly poisoned by now. Let's rest here for a bit. Yes. Having plenty of battle experience, they comfortably dealt with the black skeletons. At that moment, there's one still intact. A Crash Guild member, Peak, discovered an unbroken head of a black skeleton among the pile of bones. Grab. As Peak picked up the head of the black skeleton. You, the great king. The black skeleton started to shout at Peak. Shut up. Thump. Peak kicked the head of the black skeleton. Roll, roll. The head of the black skeleton rolled across the floor. Thump, thump. Peak played with the head of the black skeleton like a soccer ball. He deliberately didn't kill it, intending to torment and humiliate the opponent. This was typical of the nature of Crash Guild members. How dare you disturb the great king? Undaunted and still being kicked around, the head of the black skeleton continued its speech. A king, Peak, bring that over here. The Crash Guild leader, Zibik, showed interest in the black skeleton's words. Yes, understood. At guild leader Zibik's order, Peak hurriedly brought the black skeleton's head over, presenting it respectfully with both hands. In the Crash Guild, a higher rank meant not only being the strongest, but also the most cruel and brutal. Click. Zibik held the black skeleton's head in his hand. Hey, say it again, something about a great king. That's right, this place is where the great king rests. Do not disturb his eternal slumber. So, where exactly is this king resting? Zibik thought there might be a treasure, intrigued by the mention of a king. Invaders, do you think I would tell you where the king rests? We are the beings who eternally guard the king's side. Kek, you told us. What? When did I? You just said you guys eternally guard him, right? You've already kindly informed us. Crack. Zibik crushed the head of the black skeleton in his hand as he spoke. And then, let's go, guys. The guild members started pursuing the remaining black skeletons. You have arrived at the Black Graveyard on the 4th floor of the Black Tower. Your mission is to find and eliminate the cause threatening the extinction of the black skeletons. You have moved from the top floor, the 99th floor of the tower, to the 4th floor. You have descended 95 floors. Due to the effect of title, retrogressor, all stats increase by 95. Wow! Feeling an overflow of energy as all his stats increased by 95, Sejun delighted in his newfound strength. As Sejun was enjoying his enhanced power. Rattle, rattle. How dare you invade the resting place of our king? Aren't you Anik? The black skeletons, armed with rusted swords and shields, surrounded Sejun and the animals, recognizing Anik among them. Captain Philip of the Knights, please lower your weapons. These people are with the great black dragon and his subordinates. You threatened Dad with a sword. Thinking that Kyungi might step in angrily, Anik hurriedly introduced Sejun and the animals. The great black dragon, Philip quickly scrutinized Sejun's group. And then, thud, I greet the great black dragon. Philip knelt down and paid his respects. Thud, we greet the great black dragon. The rest of the black skeletons also knelt and paid their respects. Krung, toward Kyungi, who seemed the strongest. Krung, krung. Kyungi is not a black dragon but a crimson giant honey bear. Dad is the black dragon. Captain Philip, this here is the great black dragon. Anik quickly tried to rectify the situation, pointing at Sejun. I apologize. Great black dragon, I will atone for my rudeness with my life." "That's enough." Sejun, accustomed to such misunderstandings, casually dismissed the matter. Moreover, he had come to prevent the extinction of the black skeletons, so he couldn't let them die because of him. "First, tell me the situation." "Yes." Philip explained the current situation. "So Gagel sent new people, and you were badly beaten." "Yes. Regrettably, we were no match for them with our abilities, so we hastily retreated to protect the king's tomb." Philip explained the battle with the Crash Guild and their subsequent defeat. Upon hearing Philip's explanation, "You have identified the cause of the black skeletons, extinction on the black graveyard of the fourth floor. A mid-level administrator quest has appeared. Mid-level administrator quest. Eliminate or drive away the 20 members of the Crash Guild on the fourth floor. Crash Guild 020. Reward, 100,000 experience points, 1,000 tower coins. Failure, you cannot return to your original place until the quest is completed." The quest appeared. 20 members of the Crash Guild. Sejun spoke as if it was nothing. The reward alone showed that it wouldn't be a difficult task for Sejun. Furthermore, Sejun, who had fought strong hunters on the 44th floor of the tower, knew he was a formidable force on Earth, though not so much on the 99th floor. "You guys destroy Gagel's experience farm. I'll handle the rest." Sejun, unable to leave the 100 m radius of the Black Graveyard, was unable to attack Gagel's experience farm. "I have only a day and a few hours left until the wedding of the Black Rabbit. I need to deal with this quickly and return." Sejun tasked the animals capable of long-range attacks with destroying Gagel's experience farm, located away from the Black Graveyard. "Understood, meow." "Kroong. Kaiwat, okay." Thus, the animals ascended to the sky. Kyungi used his telekinesis, and Theo was aided by Iona's flying magic. Then, boom bang. Theo, Kyungi, and Iona began to noisily destroy the experience farm. "Now, lead me to where the Crash Guild is," Sejun said as he took out his weapon, a hoe, from his void storage and spoke to the black skeletons. "Great black dragon, are you really going to fight with that?" Philip, seeing Sejun's weapon, asked in disbelief. The weapon seemed too unimpressive. "Yes, let's go quickly." A slightly embarrassed Sejun hurriedly took the lead. If he had known this would happen, he would have brought the amplifying greatsword. "Rattle, rattle. I'll guide you." Philip hurried to walk and quickly moved ahead of Sejun when, swoosh! 5 arrows flew towards Sejun. Sejun quickly tried to dodge. But, the thought of having to dodge so many arrows actually slowed his movements. Sejun's stats were high, but his combat experience was limited. In an effort to reduce his body area, he hunched down as much as possible. Talent, sturdiness ignores weak attacks. Talent, sturdiness ignores weak attacks. He managed to dodge 3 arrows and was hit by only 2. Thanks to his talent, there was no damage. However, why is there a person here? Well, good for us. No one else is around. Let's just deal with him and take his money. Seeing Sejun hit by the arrows, 5 members of the Crash Guild thought he had suffered a fatal injury and leisurely revealed themselves. Screech. Dust of Destruction. Attack. QO. The remaining dragons, following Stella's command, unleashed their breath attacks on the approaching red mist towards the 10th tower. Then, clang. Collect. Collect. The black and white dragons excitedly collected tower coins that appeared as the dust of destruction disappeared. For the other dragons, eliminating the dust of destruction was a tedious and irritating task, but for them, it was exhilarating. While the dragons were busy eliminating the dust of destruction, caw-caw, strange noises began to emerge from beyond the dust of destruction. Groan. At the same time, an oppressive aura weighed down on the dragons. What is this? Why is this sound happening now? The dragon's gaze turned towards the source of the noise, beyond the dust of destruction. And then, swoosh! A black bird, dwarfing the dragons in size, emerged from the dust of destruction. Apostle of destruction, second seat, crow of death, how faz. Damn, I didn't want to stay here. All dragons flee and survive. Kayla. Stella, realizing she had to buy time, ordered the other dragons to escape and fired her breath at Halfaz. But that was Stella's last command in her life. Call. Halfaz opened its beak and shot a dark red beam towards Stella's breath. The dark red beam engulfed Stella's breath and ultimately swallowed Stella herself. And then, where the dark red beam vanished, no trace was left. Halfaz's attack completely annihilated Stella. The power of a true body of the Apostle of Destruction, not just a fragment, was not something a dragon could stop alone. It would take at least 500 dragons combining their strength to resist it. Stella. As Stella vanished instantly, the dragons were in disarray and huddled close to the 10th tower, keeping an eye on Halfaz. Call. Halfaz fired another dark red beam at them. The attack was too fast to dodge. Attack. Left with no other option, the dragons combined their breaths and fired at Halfaz. However, their breaths were slowly engulfed by the dark red beam. Arg. Protect. Just as Halfaz's attack was about to reach the dragons. Whoosh! A bright light exploded from the 10th tower. And then Halfaz's attack was extinguished. The 10th tower had repelled the power of destruction. Phew! The dragons sighed in relief, having narrowly escaped with their lives. However, as Halfaz continued to watch them, they could neither leave nor approach, forced to stay close to the 10th tower, waiting for backup. Anik is that person, really the great black dragon. Watching Sejun hit by the arrows, the black skeletons quietly asked Anik from behind. But, I can hear everything, you fools. Sejun heard everything, feeling embarrassed. It's all your fault, land moving. Boom! Using Myler's hoe, he vented his anger on the Crash Guild members who caused his embarrassment, burying them in the ground. You have eliminated 5 members of the Crash Guild. After Sejun dealt with the enemies. See? He looked back smugly. Rattle. All the black skeletons had collapsed. And then, the Crash Guild has opened the Sealed King's tomb. The Sealed King has acquired a living body. The Sealed King begins to absorb the souls of the knights who sealed him to regain his power. Messages appeared about the king's tomb being opened. The quest has been updated. Mid-level administrator quest. Defeat the Sealed King on the 4th floor of the tower before he fully regains his power and save the souls of the black skeletons. Reward, 100 million experience points, 50 million tower coins, salvation of the black skeletons. Failure, you cannot return to your original place until the quest is completed. The quest was updated simultaneously. Chapter 253, It's Okay to Touch the Belly, Meow. Thousands of years ago, in the ancient times, a powerful necromancer appeared on the Titan continent. Immortal King Immortal 1. Immortal King Immortal raised the dead from the northernmost part of the Titan continent and moved southward. All living beings on the continent fought to drive away Immortal. Fortunately, the war ended in victory for the living beings, as they sealed Immortal King Immortal. We are beings cursed with immortality. We will forever guard this place to ensure that the Immortal King does not emerge again. Tens of thousands of knights, who had died and been resurrected by Immortal. The knights, freed from the control of Immortal upon his sealing, vowed to become guardians of the seal. However, not many could withstand the vast stretch of time. As time flowed, their weapons and armor crumbled, unable to withstand the years, and their bodies and spirits wore down as well. Ensure that no one approaches the king's tomb. They had forgotten who was sealed in the tomb, why they needed to guard it, and even who they were, but they kept their knight's oath to guard the king's tomb. Then one day, as they were guarding the tomb as usual. Where is this? Clink clank. They found themselves in a strange place, surrounded by skeletons unlike them. And then, this is the fourth floor of the Black Tower. Yes, that seems to be the case. They realized that they were in a place called the Black Tower. However, no matter where we are, our duty is to guard the king's tomb. Their oath didn't fade just because their location changed. They continued to guard the tomb as per their vow. Where did everyone go? Zibik, the guild master of the Crash Guild, looked around. There were no black skeletons in sight. This was because all the black skeletons had gathered where Sejun was. Maybe they went to the other guys. Seems like it. Zibik thought that the black skeletons were lured to another team, as he had divided his men into groups of 5 to find the king's tomb. During their search, is this the place? Zibik discovered a giant door engraved with strange characters. Open it. Yes, sir. At Zibik's command, the guild members opened the door. Creak. The door opened with a loud noise. Let's see. As the door opened, Zibik entered first, expecting to find the king's lavish burial items. But, what's this? Inside the room, made of giant square bricks, there was only a sarcophagus bound by a single line of golden chains. Search for any hidden places. Yes. As Zibik instructed his subordinates. Let's at least take this. Bang. Zibik cut the golden chain round the sarcophagus with his axe. And then, maybe there's something inside. Scrape. Zibik pushed the lid of the sarcophagus, opening it since he had already broken the golden chains. There was no body inside the sarcophagus, only tattered and decayed pieces of cloth. And what kind of king's tomb is this? Zibik wasn't curious why there was no corpse. He was just disappointed that there were no valuable items inside. This looks somewhat expensive. Zibik noticed a golden necklace with a red gem among the cloth pieces and reached out to grab it. Just then, puff puff, red smoke began to emanate from the red gem and started to envelop Zibik's body. Why did the rewards suddenly get so much better? This is worrying, isn't it? Sejun felt uneasy as the quest updated with better rewards. Bigger rewards usually meant more difficult quests. Then, Chairman Park. Krung. Dad Kyungi is here. Theo and Kyungi came looking for Sejun and clung to his knees. They had returned to protect Sejun as they sensed an unusual atmosphere around. Feeling the comforting weight on his legs, Sejun felt reassured. With Theo and Kyungi by his side, he felt ready to face any foe. What about Yona? Yona will come after burning down the experience farm, meow. Really? Looking up at the sky, a tremendous number of flames filled the air, falling towards the ground. Judging by the firepower, it seemed Yona would return soon. Guys, we need to find the sealed king first. Pew Pew Hut, leave it to me, meow. Guys, come out, meow. At Sejun's words, Theo puffed up with pride and spoke to Sejun's shadow. Then, slink slink. Shadow minions began to detach from Sejun's shadow and cling to Theo. Go and check if there's anything suspicious, meow. Theo ordered the shadow minions to scout around. Nod nod. Swoosh. The shadow minions nodded at Theo's command and scattered in all directions. I'm jealous. Even though they were his shadow minions, Sejun felt a bit sad that he could only watch Theo command them. But then, no, if it weren't for Theo, I couldn't have summoned them. This is better. Squish squish. Sejun quickly adopted a positive mindset and pinched Theo's cheeks. Hezzy. The soft, mochi-like texture lifted Sejun's spirits. There were absolutely no other emotions involved. Meow, Chairman Park, let go of my cheeks, meow. Struggling to escape from Sejun's grasp, Theo wriggled about and then. Krung. Dad Kyungi wants his cheeks touched too. Feeling left out as Sejun only touched his big brother's cheeks, Kyungi pushed his face forward, asking for his cheeks to be touched as well. All right. Letting go of the reluctant Theo's cheeks, Sejun proceeded to touch Kyungi's cheeks when, swoosh! Theo, lying on Sejun's lap, stealthily pulled Sejun's right hand towards his belly. It's okay to touch the belly, meow. Got it. As Sejun petted Theo's belly and Kyungi's cheeks. Swoosh! The shadow minions returned and clung to Theo again. And then, thank you, meow. Chairman Park, over there is someone emanating a strange aura, meow. Theo, having received the report from a shadow minion, raised his paw to point the way. Cough why? A subordinate who was searching for hidden places on Zibik's orders died with a puzzled look, a sword plunged into his side. Soul drain. Zibik, or rather Immortal King Immortal, who had possessed Zibik's body, watched the subordinate coldly, reciting the spell with eyes dyed bright red. Puff puff. White smoke escaped from the corpse and was absorbed into Immortal's mouth. Sigh, how long has it been since I tasted a soul steeped in despair? It's delicious. Immortal, having absorbed the soul, showed an ecstatic expression, overwhelmed with joy. Then, boss, what's going on? Boss, why did you kill Royce? Feeling the strange atmosphere, the subordinates who found Immortal next to their dead colleague approached him. Boss, is that what you call this body? What? What does that mean? But how rude. To not bow your head in the presence of the Immortal King, Immortal, I'll have to cut off your heads. Arise, my first sword. Boom, boom. At Immortal's command, the ground split open, and a black skeleton appeared. You called, Immortal King. The king's first sword greets you. Thump. The black skeleton, equipped with a thick full-body armor emitting a dark sheen and a black sword radiating a deadly aura, kneeled and paid respects to Immortal. It looked different from when it was with Sejun. Yes, it has been a long time, my first sword. Immortal King, give me your command. Cut off their heads. Yes, as the king commands. As the first sword stood up to carry out Immortal's order. The boss is acting weird, let's subdue him. Got it. The members of the Crash Guild, despite their grand words, relaxed their guard upon seeing just one black skeleton clad in armor and attacked it. But then, scrape. What? The Crash Guild members couldn't even see the swing of the black skeleton sword before they saw their bodies falling to the ground. Soul drain. Thus, Immortal King Immortal absorbed 4 souls from the heads severed by his first sword. Arise, my swords. Having regained strength by absorbing souls, Immortal summoned 5 more armed black skeletons. And then, detect life over there. He began to hunt, sensing the presence of living beings nearby. To the left, meow. Following the guidance of the shadow minion, as relayed by Theo, Sejun moved in that direction. Is that the sealed king? Soon they could see Immortal King Immortal, protected by 30 armed black skeletons. While Sejun was assessing his opponent. What are these animals? Kill them. Immortal ordered the death of Theo and Kyungi. Due to his talent of being an insignificant presence, Sejun was not noticed by Immortal. Yes, as the king commands. The black skeletons began to draw their swords to attack Theo and Kyungi. But then, Krung. Dad, Kyungi will protect you as the king of gluttony. Kyungi announced his own royal title upon facing the Immortal King. And then, click. With Kyungi's cry, the black skeleton's swords were forcefully sheathed back into their scabbards. Kyungi had used telekinesis to resheath the knights' swords back into their sheaths, preventing Sejun from getting caught in the attack. In the meantime, Chairman Park's enemies will be punished by Vice Chairman Theo, the Ni King Meow. Theo, also mentioning his own royal title, swung his front paw. Without any sound or wind, Theo's magic claws slashed through them. Guard Theo has defeated the first sword of the Immortal King Immortal. You have gained 500,000 experience points, 50% of what Guard Theo earned. Clatter. The black skeletons were split into 6 parts and crumbled away. However, there was no message about defeating Immortal. And then, meow, cuckoo, not bad. Immortal laughed while regenerating his wounds. Arise, my swords. Immortal raised the black skeletons again. That moment, Kueheb Krung. Hehe, big brother can't fight well. Smack. Kyungi laughed at Theo and clapped his hands. Boom. Simultaneously, Immortal and the black skeletons were crushed. Kyungi had used his telekinetic powers. Herbalist Kyungi has defeated the 10th sword of the Immortal King Immortal. You have gained 100,000 experience points, 50% of what Herbalist Kyungi earned. But again, there was no message about defeating Immortal. Crack. Cuckoo, that hurt a bit. Immortal's pulped body began to regenerate again. Krung. Kyungi was taken aback to see Immortal reviving, even after his attack. Meow, Chairman Park, what should we do, meow? Krung. Dad, what should we do? Theo and Kyungi, having never encountered an enemy that didn't die from their attacks, were perplexed and turned to Sejun for guidance. It's okay, Kyungi, make sure he can't move. Krung. Understood. As Kyungi used his telekinesis to restrain Immortal. Throw thunder. In the meantime, Sejun, who had conjured dense thunder clouds in the sky, struck Immortal's regenerating body with lightning. Boom. Alorg. Immortal screamed as his body was scorched by the lightning. Had he been in full strength, he might not have been affected, but in his weakened state, Sejun's skill could inflict damage. Hurts, doesn't it? So quickly summon more black skeletons. Hearing Immortal's earlier comment about pain, Sejun pressured him to summon black skeletons while inflicting pain. The black skeletons provided experience points even after being killed and resummoned. Sejun planned to find a way to defeat Immortal while simultaneously earning experience points by defeating the black skeletons. If I can't resolve the situation by the time of the Black Rabbit's wedding, I'll just freeze him into an ice cube and send him to Aileen. Unaware that the Holy Stone ice cube was on the verge of being crushed under Aileen's foot, Sejun pondered his next move. Chapter 254. I shouldn't have said I was a candidate for the World Tree. Black Tower Administrator Area. Bang. Lady Aileen, I apologize. The Holy Stone ice cube screamed as it was stepped on by Aileen. When first stepped on by Aileen, it deeply resented the Holy Stone piercing and the Heart of Dark, the god of darkness, for betraying it. Especially, it felt a great sense of betrayal by the Holy Stone piercing, a fellow Holy Stone. Bang. Sob, please spare me. I swear I won't betray you ever again. Eventually, it came to understand them. That dragon was incredibly formidable. However, HMPH, how can I believe the words of a betrayer? Aileen was not quick to trust the words of the Holy Stone ice cube, given its history of betrayal. Please believe me, I'm serious. No way, betrayal is hard to do once, but doing it twice or thrice becomes easy, and you've already committed that difficult betrayal once, so you deserve a harsher punishment. And then, crush. She stepped on the Holy Stone ice cube even harder. The Holy Stone seemed ready to make a vow of obedience on the spot, but Aileen did not let it do so. HMPH, how dare you betray our Sejun? Aileen planned to punish the Holy Stone ice cube more before making it swear an oath. Alig. The Holy Stone ice cube screamed under Aileen's foot. Then, whir. A blue light began to emanate from the Holy Stone ice cube being stepped on by Aileen. The intense pressure seemed to have triggered its evolution. Oh. Aileen was taken aback by this development. I'm stepping on you to punish you, and you evolve. Since it was beneficial for Sejun, Aileen continued stepping on the Holy Stone ice cube, aiding its evolution. What, you think I'll listen to you? Immortal resisted Sejun's command to summon the black skeletons. You're asking for a beating. This won't do. Guys, it's time for the Meow Meow Crew Storm Fist. Sejun ordered Theo and Kyungi to perform a combined attack. Immortal might genuinely be destroyed, but there was no other choice since it refused to listen. Chairman Park understood meow. Kyungi, are you ready meow? Clicking. Theo responded and placed his front paw on Sejun's knee. Krung. Ready. Kyungi also responded, placing his front paw on Sejun's knee. It was a ritual to include Sejun in their combined attack. The two finished preparing for the combined attack. Here we go meow, meow 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 meow. Kruyung. Theo's meow meow fist and Kyungi's roar combined into the meow meow crew storm fist, launching towards Immortal. Crunch. Immortal's body was pulverized to an almost invisible size. The surrounding terrain was altered as a side effect. The shattered pieces of Immortal's body began to gather and regenerate. Fortunately, Immortal's life was as persistent as one would expect from an immortal king. But, huff huff huff, Immortal struggled to regenerate his body, reduced to dust. He was thought to be immune to physical force, but it seemed even that had limits in the face of extreme physical force. If you so wish to die, arise, my swords. Still not wanting to endure the meow meow crew storm fist again, Immortal obediently summoned the black skeletons. It was practically a surrender. And then, boom boom. At your command, Immortal King. Following Immortal's command, 50 black skeletons emerged from the ground. Kill that man. Yes, as the king commands. Swoosh. Following Immortal's order, the black skeletons drew their swords and charged at Sejun. Then, Kyungi, hold them. Sejun, with no intention to fight the black skeletons directly, instructed Kyungi. And then, Krung Krung. Understood, holding them. Kyungi stretched his front paws forward and used telekinesis to immobilize the black skeletons. Rainfall. In the meantime, Sejun soaked the ground sufficiently to ensure good electrical conductivity. Thunder throw. Thunder throw. After dropping lightning on the black skeletons, summoned by Immortal 10 times. Boom! You have defeated the 50th sword of the Immortal King Immortal. You have gained 20,000 experience points. The weakest black skeleton began to fall. Thunder throw. As Sejun continued to defeat the black skeletons and gain experience. Your proficiency in Rain Thunder LV3 has increased, leveling up the skill. The Rain Thunder skill leveled up. And then, Thunder Throw. When Sejun used the leveled up Thunder Throw. Boom! The power of purification contained within the thunder cleanses forces that defy the natural order. The soul control exerted by Immortal King Immortal over Onyx souls weakened slightly. With the message, black smoke slightly escaped from the bodies of the black skeletons hit by the thunder and disappeared. The Rain Thunder skill had reached level 4 and was now imbued with the power of purification. Upon seeing the names in the message, Sejun realized that the black skeletons he was attacking were, until recently, his allies. And that his attacks were actually helping them. Guys, I'll help you attain Nirvana. Originally planning to just fight moderately and leave it to Theo and Kyungi, Sejun got enthusiastic and used his skill. Hey, summon more Thunder Throw. Thus, Sejun continued to drop thunder more vigorously. 2 hours later. Huff huff huff, I'm tired, let's take a break. After defeating all 50 black skeletons and using about half of his magic power, Sejun gasped for air. Compared to the past when he would faint after using Thunder Throw 3 times, this was indeed a remarkable improvement. Clank. Immortal was temporarily placed in the void storage to prevent him from escaping. Just as Sejun was about to take a break after putting Immortal in the void storage. Crack. Sejun heard a breaking sound in his ear. Turning towards the source of the sound. Kyungi was chewing on the bones of a black skeleton. Kyungi, who told you to eat that? Spit it out right now, that's dirty. Sejun sternly scolded Kyungi. Kyung Krung. Sorry, Kyungi was just hungry and wanted to taste it. Kyungi looked pitiful and whimpered, noticing Sejun's angry expression. Despite feeling soft-hearted seeing Kyungi like this, Sejun maintained a stern expression. It was time to be strict, or Kyungi might eat human bones next time. If you're hungry, tell Daddy. Here, eat some honey. Don't eat such things again, okay? Sejun gave Kyungi some honey he had taken out when confining Immortal. Krung Krung. Okay, Kyungi was wrong. Kyungi, realizing Sejun was no longer angry, rubbed its face against Sejun's knee and said, Kyuiha. Lick lick. Kyungi sat on Sejun's lap and began eating the honey. After a while, when Kyungi finished the honey, hey, summon them again. Sejun took Immortal out of the void storage and had him summon the black skeletons again. Eek, I'm not going to do whatever you say. Immortal seemed to have quickly forgotten the pain he just experienced and resisted again. But, guys, meow meow crew. No, I'll summon them. Arise, my swords. Immortal eventually had to summon the black skeletons again. It would have been so much easier if he had just complied from the start. Thunder Throw. Sejun continued to defeat the black skeletons and gain experience points. Boom! As Sejun continued to rain down thunder on the black skeletons. SSSSSS. The power of purification contained within the thunder cleanses forces that defy the natural order. The soul control exerted by Immortal King Immortal over Sis's soul is completely released. The soul of Sis, under the control of Immortal King Immortal, is liberated. With the message, black smoke slightly escaped from the weakest black skeleton's body, and its black bones turned pure white. The power of purification had completely liberated the soul from Immortal's control. And then, thank you for granting me peace. The only thing I can offer to you, Sejun, is the modest enlightenment of my sword. Please accept my enlightenment. The liberated soul of the knight Sis left behind a white light containing his enlightenment and insight, and then vanished into white powder, having achieved nirvana. Floating. As the white light left by Sis approached Sejun, he touched it. Then, Knight Sis has passed on his enlightenment to you. You have learned Basic Swordsmanship LV 1. The proficiency of Basic Swordsmanship LV 1 has been filled and the level has increased. The proficiency of Basic Swordsmanship LV 2 has been filled and the level has increased. You have mastered Basic Swordsmanship. You have learned Intermediate Swordsmanship LV 1. Along with the messages, Sejun instantly acquired Intermediate Swordsmanship LV 1. As a knight who had practiced swordsmanship all his life, Sis had profound insight into the art. Well, when Sejun took out his dagger, he felt a different sensation than before. This gave Sejun even more reason to liberate the black skeletons. Thunder Throw. So Sejun continued to cast thunder late into the night. I'm exhausted. Completely drained of magical power, Sejun was worn out. However, during that time, he managed to liberate 2 more black skeletons. His intermediate swordsmanship skill reached level 5, and he also learned intermediate spear technique LV 1 and intermediate shield technique LV 1. Immortal, who provided both experience points and skills, was a complete treasure trove for Sejun. Eek my swords. Meanwhile, Immortal, who could only watch as the souls it controlled attained nirvana and escaped its grasp, was grinding its teeth in frustration towards Sejun. But then, Kaiwat, I'm back. Swoosh. As Yona, who had burned down the entire 4th floor experience farm, returned, Immortal suddenly became silent. Being a magician himself, Immortal feared Yona more than Theo and Kyungi, who attacked physically. Thanks to her, Sejun could spend his time quietly. 99th floor of the tower. Here, eat this. Flamey's roots handed a drop of liquid to Poteri's roots. Although it was just a drop, it contained tremendous nutrients. Flamey Nim. Pottery hesitated to accept the liquid. Huh, oh, don't worry. I'm eating much more than what I'm giving you. Flamey reassured Pottery, thinking it was hesitating to accept the gift out of concern for her. Ah, it's not that, I'm just full. What? Flamey was taken aback by Pottery's response. Did I hear that wrong? But I'm really full. Gathering courage, Pottery conveyed its feelings. With Flamey providing such nutrient-rich liquid incessantly, Pottery was suffering from indigestion. F whoosh. You are so full. I never had anyone to give me such things. Flamey's roots began to heat up with anger at Pottery's unexpected response. Flameynim, please calm down, I'll eat it, I will. Startled by Flamey's fiery reaction, Pottery hurriedly tried to calm Flamey down. Pottery, how can you become the world tree like this? Huh, eat it quickly. I'll make you the world tree in no time. Flamey spoke as if to assure complete trust in herself. And then, yes, Pottery, under Flamey's insistence, was forced to absorb the liquid. I shouldn't have said I was a candidate for the world tree. Pottery regretted it too late. The next morning, all right. After building a mud house using Myler's hoe and taking out a mattress from the void storage for a good night's sleep, Sejun woke up refreshed. Then, guys, time to wake up. Sejun woke up the animals. He needed to take out food ingredients from the void storage for breakfast, but couldn't open it alone since Immortal was also locked inside. Meow. Kroong. Kaiwat. After spending 10 minutes waking up the animals. Pew hut, leave it to me, meow. Kroong. Kyungi is hungry. They were ready to open the void storage. After having a quick breakfast, Thunder Throw. Sejun made Immortal summon black skeletons and then dropped thunder on them. Boom! Sejun started off with a strong thunderbolts, using a lot of magic power. Although this method quickly exhausted his magic power, this time he had something to rely on. Kaiwat, Kaiwat, Kaiwat. Power of magic, heed my command and transfer my magic power. Magic power transfer. Yona used her own magic power to replenish Sejun's. Although it was an inefficient spell, consuming 100 of her magic power to restore only 5 of Sejun's, efficiency 5%. It was perfectly suited for the situation. Thanks to Iona's help, Sejun could use his skills liberally without worrying about his magic power. Your proficiency in Rain Thunder LV4 has increased, leveling up the skill. The level of the Rain Thunder skill increased again, strengthening the power of purification in the thunder and weakening Immortal's soul control more rapidly. Day 356 of being stranded. The morning before the Black Rabbit's wedding passed like this. Chapter 255, just like that. Black Tower, first floor plaza. Hunters who had evacuated from the sudden bombardment on the 4th floor of the tower filled the plaza. And, murmur. Hunters conversed with each other, trying to understand what had happened. Among these hunters, what? You're saying a cat swung its paw in the sky and turned dozens of kilometers of experience farms to dust? Yes, I saw it from the top of Mount Kaisel. I saw a yellow cat and a brown baby bear in the sky, swinging their paws and destroying the farm. A bald hunter, over 2 meters tall and muscular, gesticulated wildly, describing the scene he had witnessed on the 4th floor. However, what, a cat, a baby bear, that's nonsense, this guy has lost his mind. Lexton, get a grip. It's true. His peers ignored and mocked Lexton's claims. It was fortunate they didn't see Iona on Theo's tail. If Lexton had said that a small, cute, white hamster created a giant firestorm and wiped away the experience farm, he would have been ridiculed even more. Actually, he might have been completely dismissed as a liar and ostracized by the other hunters. It's really true. Disheartened by the dismissal of the surrounding hunters, Lexton quietly closed his mouth when, "Could you tell me more about what you said earlier? Did you really see a yellow cat and a brown baby bear?" A man with black hair approached and asked. It was Kim Dong-sik, who was heading to the 41st floor of the tower to procure sturdy blade green onions and detoxifying green onions, but he stopped in his tracks, intrigued by the mention of a yellow cat and baby bear. Yes, it's true, look, I have a photo. Seeing Kim Dong-sik interested in his story, Lexton hurriedly showed him the photo he took with his hunter phone, eager to clear his name. Theo is on the 4th floor. Thanks to Lexton, Kim Dong-sik learned that Theo was on the 4th floor. The baby bear next to him was undoubtedly Kyungi, Theo's 4th younger sibling he often talked about. But Kyungi never leaves Sejun's side, does he? Wondering if Sejun might be on the 4th floor, Kim Dong-sik thought. Here, 10 tower coins. Go to my master, show him this photo, and tell him exactly what you told me. I'll give you 10 more tower coins. Really? Who should I go to? Kim Dong-sik promised a reward and sent Lexton to Han Tae-jun. And then, if it's the master, he will surely come to the 4th floor to meet Park Sejun. Eager to find Sejun before Han Tae-jun's arrival, Kim Dong-sik headed to the 4th floor. Muhahaha, I'm overflowing with magic power, thunder throw. Boom! Thanks to Iona continuously recharging his magic power, Sejun no longer worried about depleting it. As a result, Sejun could keep dropping gigantic thunderbolts on the black skeletons for hours. And then, sizzle! The power of purification contained within the thunder cleanses forces that defy the natural order. The soul control exerted by the undying Lich King, immortal over Lemon's soul, is completely released. The soul of Lemon, under the control of the undying Lich King, immortal, is liberated. Sejun's continuous thunder attacks from morning liberated 5 souls from immortal at once. We thank you for granting us peace. All we, who are even incomplete in soul, can offer to you, Sejun, is a little insignificant enlightenment we have gained about martial arts. Please accept our enlightenment. Swoosh! The 5 black skeletons turned into white powder, achieving nirvana. Floating, the 5 orbs of white light left by the knights approached and were absorbed by Sejun. Knight Lemon has passed on his enlightenment to you. You have learned Basic Martial Arts LV 1. The proficiency of Basic Martial Arts LV 1 has been filled and the level has increased. The proficiency of Basic Martial Arts LV 2 has been filled and the level has increased. You have mastered Basic Martial Arts. You have learned Intermediate Martial Arts LV 1. The proficiency of Intermediate Martial Arts LV 1 has been filled and the level has increased. Along with the messages, Sejun learned Intermediate Martial Arts LV 2 and Basic Archery LV 5 and was able to level up his Intermediate Swordsmanship and Intermediate Shield Technique by 1 level each. Swoosh swoosh. Sejun tried out his newly acquired skills with a punch. Whoosh! Well, his punches, now fully powered and different from before, created wind strong enough to push a person. Quite useful. Lucky that Theo and Kyungi aren't here. If they had seen him celebrating his ability to create wind with his punches, they would surely have shown off their own punching power. And I would have realized how insignificant my punches are. Theo and Kyungi could break mountains and create storms with their punches, after all. Fortunately, they weren't there. Feeling the pull in his paw, Theo had set off to follow it, and Kyungi, seeing this, followed his big brother, thinking he was going on a treasure hunt. Bang bang! As Sejun was testing his kicks after his punches. Pew Hut Chairman Park, I found something good, meow. Kyuehe Krung. Hehe, big brother found it but Kyungi brought it here. Theo and Kyungi, with a thick golden necklace around his neck, approached Sejun. It seemed like Theo had passed it to Kyungi because he found it bothersome to carry, but for everyone's happiness, such comments were left unsaid. Our Kyungi looks so stylish, doesn't he? Instead, Sejun praised Kyungi. Kyungi did look stylish. After all, our Kyungi could pull off any outfit normally seen without one. Fashion is completed by Kyungi. Perhaps he should be called Fashion King Kyungi. Clicking. Clicking. The two naturally clung to Sejun's legs. Krung, Dad here. Kyungi handed over the golden necklace he wore around his neck to Sejun. Thanks. Pad pad. Sejun patted the heads of Theo and Kyungi after receiving the golden necklace. But what is this? It doesn't seem like just gold. Sejun examined the golden necklace closely. It wouldn't make sense for Theo's front paw to be attracted to mere gold. Holy Seal's golden chain. Right arrow equipment created to seal the undying Lich King, immortal. Crafted by skilled blacksmiths, who engraved intricate magic circles on the golden chains. Right arrow high-level mages activated the magic circle, and saintesses from 10 orders infused their holy power to create it. Right arrow, it has an exceptional ability to seal the unholy. Right arrow usage restriction, magic power 100 or above. Right arrow creator, Saintess Malin and 999 others. Right arrow grade S+. The golden necklace that Kyungi wore was actually the golden chain used to seal Immortal's sarcophagus. So it wasn't a necklace but a chain. No wonder it was so thick. Sejun remarked, reading the item description. But this was created to seal Immortal. How evil must someone be for 1,000 people to create such a thing to seal just one person? This guy is really evil. Sejun commented, looking at Immortal, who was flattened on the ground due to Iona's gravity magic. HMPH, I'm not the evil one. Those weaklings who died by my hand are the evil ones. What, so you're saying I'm evil? Sejun, who often felt weaker compared to others and was treated as the underdog, was angered by Immortal's response. And then, hey, summon the black skeletons. Sejun decided to quickly liberate the souls under Immortal's control and deal with Immortal himself. According to Iona's assessment, once all souls under Immortal's control were freed, his immortality would disappear. Create thunderclouds, rainfall. As Sejun was getting ready to attack the black skeletons again. Gurgle, gurgle. A rumbling sound came from his legs. Huh. Sejun looked down. Kyungi looked up at Sejun with an expectant expression. Kyungi is hungry. It was indeed time for lunch. As always, Kyungi's belly clock was accurate. Just wait a bit, Kyungi, thunder throw. Sejun intermittently dropped thunder on the black skeletons while preparing lunch. 99th floor of the tower. Ook ook. The monkey respectfully delivered the completed samyeonju to the dragons. Oh, is it all done? Specifically to Kaiser, who had reserved the samyeonju in advance. Kaiser joyfully collected 1,000 bottles of samyeonju. And then, SSSS. Kellyan and Ramter, who had to wait a few more days for their reserved samyeonju, enviously watched Kaiser's bottles of samyeonju. Ramter had already replaced his armor with a new red dragon statue crafted by Udon. He had casually discarded his old armor in the farm. Kakekhaku. Pop. Feeling the envious gaze of the two, Kaiser smugly opened a bottle of samyeonju. The exquisite aroma spread as soon as the bottle was opened. Want some? Kaiser asked, noticing the two unable to take their eyes off the bottle. Yes. Yeah. Nod, nod. The two eagerly nodded in response. Kakekaku, all right, I'll generously share some. Just as Kaiser was about to share the samyeonju. What, dragons in the 10th tower? The apostle of destruction in the 10th tower. Halfas. All three simultaneously received reports about the situation in the 10th tower. And then, see you in a moment. Right. Let's meet outside. To rescue the dragons in the 10th tower and fight Halfas, leaders of each dragon tribe led 100 elite dragons each to the 10th tower. Thunder throw. After lunch, Sejun had been attacking the black skeletons for about 2 hours. Boom! The power of purification contained within the thunder cleanses forces that defy the natural order. The soul control exerted by the undying Lich King, immortal over Urid's soul, is completely released. The soul of Urid, under the control of the undying Lich King, immortal, is liberated. 20 souls were simultaneously liberated from Immortal, a result of the continuous weakening of Immortal's control by the power of purification. Swish. As Sejun absorbed the white orbs left by the knights, he learned basic axe technique, leveling it up to 7. You have mastered intermediate swordsmanship. You have learned advanced swordsmanship LV 1. The proficiency of advanced swordsmanship LV 1 has been filled and the level has increased. The proficiency of advanced swordsmanship LV 2 has been filled and the level has increased. He mastered intermediate swordsmanship and raised the skill level of advanced swordsmanship to 3. More knights, souls achieved nirvana as immortal soul control was already significantly weakened. You have leveled up. You have gained 1 bonus stat. In the process, Sejun leveled up, reaching level 68, and his Rain Thunder skill level also increased once more. As a result, purification power strengthened, and the liberation of souls became faster. Thunder Throw. You have defeated the first sword of the undying Lich King, Immortal. You have gained 1 million experience points. After Sejun had defeated all the summoned black skeletons. Summon them again. Sejun ordered Immortal. I'll never do it, even if I die I woe. Immortal started to resist. Currently, the number of souls under Immortal's control ranged from the strongest first sword to the 10th sword, totaling 10 souls. Liberating them meant Immortal's own death. Really, you'd rather die? Yes, I'll never do it. Immortal sternly answered Sejun's question. Sejun decided to use his last resort. Aileen, he's resisting. Tattling to Aileen. And then, the tower's administrator asks who dares to defy you. Just like that. Sejun quietly pointed at Immortal. Chapter 256, Don't Come Any Closer. Who is Aileen? Immortal was puzzled as he watched Sejun calling out to someone and pointing at himself. Then suddenly, Ook! His vision blurred, and a massive force began to press down on Immortal. And then, is it you, the one who defied our Sejun? A voice filled with blazing anger resonated. What? Immortal, looking towards where the voice came from, exclaimed in shock. What a dragon! He was horrified to see a gigantic being looking down at him. Never had he expected to encounter a dragon, the mightiest creature of the Titan continent, so abruptly. However, what a dragon! Just resembling one didn't equate to being a dragon. Dragons were beings of a different caliber. How dare you call me, the great black dragon Aileen Pratani, just a dragon? Immortal's words only intensified Aileen's fury. How dare you defy our Sejun? How dare you call me a dragon? Crunch. Thus, Immortal, having doubly infuriated Aileen, met a futile end under her left foot, unable to control her strength. Shivering. Absolute obedience to Lady Aileen, absolute obedience to Lord Sejun. The evolving ice cube under Aileen's right foot cried out in fear. 4th floor of the tower. Not long after Immortal's demise, the tower's administrator, the great black dragon Aileen Pratani, has annihilated the undying Lich King. The mid-level administrator quest has been completed. Messages appeared indicating the completion of the quest appeared. As expected of Aileen, she seemed to have dealt with Immortal right after taking him away. Heh, you should have listened to me. Sejun was mourning the liberated, Immortal, waiting for his quest reward. The tower's administrator says she is pleased that you and she have completed this quest together. Aileen conveyed to Sejun. Right, we did solve it together. The word together tickled him, giving a pleasant feeling. The tower's administrator said she hopes to continue solving quests with you. Sure, let's do that. While Sejun was conversing with Aileen. As a quest completion reward, the black skeletons are saved. The awaited quest completion reward began. However, The quest completion rewards, including experience points and tower coins, will be distributed based on the contribution rate of the Black Dragon Aileen Pratani and the Tower Farmer Park Sejun. Evaluating the quest contribution rate. Great Black Dragon Aileen Pratani, 99%. Tower Farmer Park Sejun, 1%. The rewards were divided based on their completion of the quest. I only contributed 1%. Sejun exclaimed in an aggrieved tone after seeing the message. No, if we did it together, it should be exactly 50-50. Why is my contribution only 1%? Huh, how hard I mean we worked. Conscious of the animals' help, without which Immortal could never have been captured, Sejun couldn't claim to have done it alone. And then, you have acquired 1 million experience points as 1% of the quest completion reward. You have acquired 1.5 million tower coins as 1% of the quest completion reward. Regardless of Sejun's feelings, the rewards were distributed. At that moment, Chairman Park, your face is getting ugly again, meow. Theo, quick to notice Sejun's frustration showing on his face, swiftly climbed onto his shoulder and started. Press. To push on Sejun's face with his front paws. Don't worry, meow. I'll quickly restore your face to its normal state, meow. No, Tui, my face isn't rotten. Sejun tried to deny it while spitting out Theo's fur that got into his mouth, but... Thump. Meow, Chairman Park, stay still, meow. Your face is getting more ugly, meow. Press. Theo kneaded Sejun's face fiercely, pressing hard on it. Sigh, all right, do what you want. Pew hut, just wait a little, meow. Press. While Sejun was receiving Theo's massage, the tower's administrator says she's sorry for taking all the rewards. Aileen, who had inadvertently taken 99% of the quest rewards, apologized to Sejun. No, it's not your fault, Aileen. Seeing Aileen's attitude made Sejun feel somewhat small-minded and petty. Honestly, neither experience points nor tower coins were significant rewards for Sejun. They were things he could do with or without. It was just the fact that he got only 1% that upset him. As Sejun's pettiness faded away, Pew hut, I Vice Chairman Theo have fixed Chairman Park's face, meow. Now Chairman Park's face is no longer ugly, meow. Clicking. Theo patted his forehead with his front paw, hanging from Sejun's leg again with a proud expression. Then, the tower's administrator says this item, which emerged after she killed Immortal, will be given to you. Aileen handed Sejun an item she obtained after killing Immortal. Thud. A black cross appeared in the palm of Sejun's hand. Thank you, Aileen, and I'm sorry for being so narrow-minded. Sejun expressed his gratitude and apology to Aileen. The tower's administrator says if you're okay, she's okay. As Sejun and Aileen were having a friendly conversation again, a new mid-level administrator quest has been activated. Mid-level administrator quest. Plant the cross of death in the ground to declare a domain of death where black skeletons can thrive. Protect the area until 1,000 black skeletons gather. Reward, 10 million experience points, 10 million tower coins. Failure, you cannot return to your original location until the quest is completed. A new quest appeared. Come to think of it, Sejun should have already returned, but it seems he hasn't because there are still remaining quests. So I just plant this and wait. This quest seems easy. Sejun examined the black cross he was holding after checking the quest. Cross of Death. Right arrow, originally a divine artifact of the god of death, Des. It lost its divine power after Immortal, a former priest who served the god of death, absorbed the power into his body. Right arrow, planting the cross of death in the ground, immediately declares a 1 km radius domain of death around it. Right arrow, the cross of death absorbs souls within its domain and resurrects them as black skeletons. Right arrow, currently, 10 souls are waiting for resurrection inside the cross of death. Right arrow usage restriction, magic power of 300 or more. Right arrow creator, god of death, Des. Right arrow grade, A+. Thunk. Since there was nothing special in the description, Sejun immediately planted the cross of death. Then, the cross of death has been planted in the ground. A domain of death is declared within a 1 km radius, centered on the cross of death. Souls wandering nearby feel the power of death and approach the domain of death. The cross of death absorbs the souls within its domain. With these messages, the domain of death was declared. Without the messages, it would have been hard to notice any changes. Then, the cross of death resurrects the 10 stored souls as black skeletons. 10 black skeletons have gathered. Rattle, rattle. With these messages, 10 unarmed, bare black skeletons resurrected from the ground. And then, rattle, rattle. Lord Sejun, thank you for freeing our souls from immortals' control. The black skeletons knelt before Sejun, showing their respect. They were the souls of 10 individuals like Philip and Anik, who had not been freed until immortals' demise. A little while later, rattle, rattle. The cross of death resurrects 2 more absorbed souls as black skeletons. 15 black skeletons have now gathered. As time passed, the cross of death absorbed more souls and gradually began resurrecting them as black skeletons. During this time, with nothing else to do, Sejun and the black skeletons just stood there, staring blankly at each other. Bored, Sejun had to wait until 1,000 black skeletons gathered, and he was growing restless just standing around. Moreover, looking at the vast land, he felt the urge to sow seeds. Perhaps it was a kind of occupational disease. Let's make a field while we wait. So Sejun decided to plant grape seeds he had collected and eaten, creating a small vineyard while waiting for 1,000 black skeletons to gather. But have you guys ever farmed? Of course, the black skeletons were included. Not for any particular reason, they just looked bored. Us farming? The black skeletons were bewildered by Sejun's question. You haven't tried it before. Don't worry, I'll teach you from the beginning. It's really easy. Let's start by making a field. Sejun began teaching the black skeletons how to farm. Surely he hasn't left already. Having arrived on the 4th floor of the tower, Kim Dong-sik hurried to the location where Theo and Kyungi were last seen, quietly searching for Sejun. Skeletons are monsters that despise the living. If they hear the voice of the living, nearby skeletons would swarm over and become a nuisance, so Dong-sik was careful to make no noise. While searching for Theo, Kim Dong-sik thought, black skeletons, huh? He saw hundreds of black skeletons gathered in the distance. He had reached the boundary of the black graveyard. SHHH. Knowing that black skeletons were much stronger than ordinary skeletons, Dong-sik drew his sword, ready to fight at any moment. And then, swish, he quietly moved towards the black skeletons. However, what's this? As Dong-sik approached the black skeletons, an overwhelming sense of oppression weighed down on him. The cross of death resurrects absorbed souls as black skeletons. 700 black skeletons have now gathered. As another black skeleton rose. Come here, rookie. I am the first hoe, Philip. From now on, I will teach you the basics of farming, starting with field making and planting. Philip, who had transformed from a sword to a hoe, began teaching the new black skeleton how to farm. After teaching the black skeletons how to make fields and plant seeds, Sejun delegated the task of instructing the newcomers to those who understood his instructions best. The 10 black skeletons who understood Sejun the best were the knights who had been freed from immortal. As the knights, now turned into hoes from 1st to 10th, taught the new black skeletons how to plant, sending them to the fields. You have planted vitality-infused fragrant grape seeds in the land imbued with magic power. Your job experience has increased slightly. Due to the effect of magic seed sowing LV. 8. The chance of acquiring new varieties increases by 5 times. Your proficiency in magic seed sowing LV. 8 has slightly increased. Sejun was completely engrossed in farming. Then, meow, Dong-sik is nearby, meow. Kroong, someone is coming. Theo and Kyungi sensed the approaching Dong-sik. Dong-sik, Vice Chairman Theo, who is Dong-sik. Sejun, who was planting grapes, stopped his work and asked after hearing Theo and Kyungi's remarks. He's the Dong-sik who made a contract with Chairman Park Meow. What, if it's the Dong-sik who made a contract with me, Kim Dong-sik? Vice Chairman Theo, is Dong-sik Nim nearby? Yes, Meow, over there, Meow. Responding to Sejun's question, Theo pointed in the direction where Dong-sik was. Really? Sejun hurriedly ran in the direction Theo pointed. Meeting a human for the first time in nearly a year felt somewhat emotional. Ah, is that Dong-sik Nim over there? As Sejun ran with a heart full of emotion, he began to see Kim Dong-sik in the distance. And then, Dong-sik Nim. As Sejun joyfully called out Kim Dong-sik's name and was about to run faster towards him. Don't come any closer. Kim Dong-sik desperately shouted, forming an X with his hands towards Sejun. S. The overwhelming presence Sejun was familiar with, like breathing, was too much for Dong-sik to handle. It was Kyungi's energy. Chapter 257. I can't control my power. Don't come any closer. Why? Sejun was momentarily startled by Kim Dong-sik's frightened voice. Ah, it can be scary if a stranger suddenly runs towards you in such a place. Sejun himself thought it would have been scary if an unknown person suddenly called his name and approached him. He had made a mistake in his excitement to meet someone after so long. Dong-sik tilde Nim, it's me, Park Sejun. So Sejun carefully revealed his name. Really? Is it really you, Sejun Nim? Since Kim Dong-sik only saw someone approaching, he was somewhat relieved to hear it was Sejun. Yes, it's me. Nice to meet you. Me too. I'm glad to meet you. In this way, Sejun managed to alleviate Kim Dong-sik's fears through conversation. Surely, this should be enough to dispel his wariness. Dong-sik tilde Nim, let's talk more as we get closer. Sejun tried to approach Dong-sik again. However, no, that won't do. Please don't come any closer. Sejun Nim, let's talk from this distance. Kim Dong-sik once again made an X with his arms to prevent Sejun from approaching. His voice was still filled with fear. What? Why? Sejun couldn't understand Kim Dong-sik's reaction. Hunters aware of Sejun's existence had one question in mind. Why doesn't Park Sejun come out of the tower? Thanks to Sejun's crops, patients on the brink of death were revived and thwarted attacks from earth-threatening locusts. If Sejun wished, he could enjoy immense wealth and honor. However, for some reason, Sejun, despite having such wealth and honor, had not stepped out of the tower. There were various speculations about the reason, but none were convincing due to the lack of information about Sejun. And then, so this was it. Having met Sejun, Kim Dong-sik understood why Sejun hadn't left the tower. The reason Sejun Nim doesn't leave the tower is because he's too powerful. Even as a hunter in the top 5% on Earth, Dong-sik felt a deathly fear from the energy emanating from Sejun, even at a distance of over 1 km. An ordinary person would probably need to keep a distance of at least 10 km from Sejun for safety. Any closer would mean certain death. Just his mere existence exerted this much influence. If Sejun were to get even slightly excited and intensify his energy, the consequences would be unimaginable. Sejun Nim is staying in the tower to protect us. He must be aware that leaving the tower could cause immense human casualties. Thus, unbeknownst to Sejun, a plausible reason for his staying in the tower was formed. How hard must it be for him? Kim Dong-sik felt concerned for Sejun. He didn't even know Sejun kept animals around to alleviate his loneliness. We have to help. Kim Dong-sik resolved to assist Sejun in the tower. Sejun tilde Nim, do you need anything? Thus, Kim Dong-sik asked if there was anything Sejun desired, considering he couldn't leave the tower. Just then, Huh. The oppressive energy intensified suddenly, overwhelming Kim Dong-sik. Sejun tilde Nim, do you need anything? When Kim Dong-sik asked Sejun, "Need something?" Sejun pondered. There was so much he wanted. Then, Kroong, Kyungi wants to eat the kimchi stew made by Kyungi's grandma. Kyungi exclaimed excitedly, inadvertently increasing the intensity of his energy. Should we? I've also been wanting to eat my mom's kimchi stew. And Kyuihe. Sejun, excitedly talking with Kyungi, discussed what he needed. I should also ask my mom for her kimchi recipe. Sejun planned to make kimchi himself in the future, so he needed the recipe. After all, the taste of kimchi stew depends largely on the kimchi. In other words, if Sejun fermented kimchi using the same recipe as at home, he could enjoy kimchi stew in the tower just like he would at home. Hehe, this will certainly upgrade my diet a bit more. As Sejun was happy about the increase in his food options. Chairman Park, Dong-sik is running away, meow. Theo alerted Sejun, noticing Kim Dong-sik trying to create distance by running away. What? Dong-sik tilde nim, where are you going? Sejun hurriedly chased after Kim Dong-sik. Why is he running away? Sejun ran, wondering why Kim Dong-sik was fleeing. Sejun's agility was several times higher than Kim Dong-sik's, so he quickly closed the distance between them. And then, thud. As Sejun got closer, Dong-sik, unable to withstand Kyungi's energy, fainted. No, why? What did I do to make him faint? This was typically what the animals thought when they saw Sejun faint, but Sejun had no idea about it. Dong-sik nim, come to your senses. As Sejun rushed to check on the fainted Kim Dong-sik. Twitch, twitch. Kim Dong-sik convulsed, trembling as he struggled unconsciously in a desperate bid for survival. Why is Dong-sik nim like this? Sejun grew even more worried and approached Dong-sik. Chairman Park, stay here, meow. Vice Chairman Theo will handle it, meow. Theo stopped Sejun. Why, I'll go too. No, meow. Chairman Park can't control his power and it will worsen Dong-sik's condition, meow. I can't control my power. That's right, meow. Chairman Park, stay back, meow. But I'm weak, aren't I? Sejun, the weakest on the 99th floor of the tower, was confused by Theo's unexpected comment. However, like Kyungi, Sejun was also unable to control his power, unlike Theo and Iona. That's because Sejun constantly emitted his energy at maximum capacity, unknowingly, to withstand the energy of the tower's 99th floor animals. Sejun only knew how to emit energy to counteract the surrounding energy. He didn't know how to conceal it. Being able to emit energy strong enough to withstand the energy of the 99th floor monsters was an impressive feat. However, this was the reason Sejun couldn't approach Kim Dong-sik. Therefore, if Sejun, who was recklessly emitting energy, got close to Kim Dong-sik, who was severely internally injured by Kyungi's energy, the situation could only worsen. All right, Vice Chairman Theo, please take good care of Dong-sik tilde nim. Oh, and make sure to deliver my message. Sejun entrusted the fainted Kim Dong-sik to Theo and asked him to convey his need for his mother's kimchi stew recipe and other essentials. Understood, meow. With that, Sejun left the unconscious Kim Dong-sik in Theo's care and returned to where Kyungi and the Cross of Death were set up. Then, slap slap. Wake up, Dong-sik, meow. Once Sejun had left, Theo started tapping Kim Dong-sik's face with his front paws, trying to wake him up. The kind, gentle kneading that Theo used when Sejun's face was ugly was absent this time. Still, Theo used healing magic to help Kim Dong-sik regain consciousness quicker. Thanks to this, Kim Dong-sik gained a slight improvement in his appearance. A little later, Vice Chairman Theo. Kim Dong-sik regained consciousness under Theo's care. That's right, meow, it's me, meow. Where's Sejun nim? As soon as he came to his senses, Kim Dong-sik, still fearful of Sejun's energy, immediately checked for Sejun's location. Chairman Park went back because Dong-sik is too weak, meow. Oh, I see. Realizing that he couldn't even withstand the energy Sejun casually emitted, Kim Dong-sik wore a bitter expression upon hearing Theo's words. Then he quickly checked his body. To think it would be this bad, Just being exposed to the energy, his body's abilities had dropped by about 50%. Every movement caused pain throughout his body. Chairman Park. To Kim Dong-sik, who was in this state, Theo conveyed the message from Sejun and then, Iona, please heal Dong-sik, meow. Theo asked Iona, who was resting on his tail, to heal Kim Dong-sik. It was necessary for Kim Dong-sik to recover quickly so he could carry out Sejun's orders. Kaiwat, Kaiwat, Kaiwat. Okay, power of magic, restore this body to its original state, recovery. Iona, accepting Theo's request, healed Kim Dong-sik's body with magic. Swirl. A yellow light seeped into Kim Dong-sik's body. Oh, thank you. Kim Dong-sik, amazed at the instantaneous healing of injuries that would have normally required 3 months of recuperation, was about to pat Iona's head in gratitude when, swoosh. What? Theo and Iona suddenly disappeared, leaving Kim Dong-sik swiping at thin air. It was so cute, too bad. Kim Dong-sik, unaware that he had just narrowly avoided losing his wrist, regretted not being able to pat Iona's head. This isn't the time. I need to quickly convey Sejun Nim's message to his mother. Kim Dong-sik got up and hurriedly moved towards the waypoint, while Sejun was returning after meeting Kim Dong-sik. Rattle, rattle. The cross of death resurrects absorbed souls as black skeletons. 850 black skeletons have gathered. The cross of death continued to resurrect black skeletons by absorbing wandering souls around it. Just a little longer and I can go back, Toryang. Sejun called Toryang, who was playing underground with him, as he might have to return before the grape farm was completed. Kuang. Master, did you call me? Toryang quietly poked its head out in response to Sejun's call. Yeah, please level the ground for me. Yes. Sejun had Toryang level the ground and started planting grape seeds in earnest. Pitter-patter. Sejun scattered grape seeds on the ground and land moving. As he struck the ground with his hoe, the earth moves favorably for you. The magic power consumption for moving the earth is reduced by half. You have planted 1,500 vitality-infused fragrant grape seeds in the land imbued with magic power. The land moved, planting the grape seeds evenly. By the time Sejun had swiftly planted 10,000 grapes, completing the grape farm. The cross of death resurrects absorbed souls as black skeletons. 950 black skeletons have gathered. It was almost time to return. Shortly after, the cross of death resurrects absorbed souls as black skeletons. 1,000 black skeletons have gathered. 1,000 black skeletons were resurrected, and the mid-level administrator quest has been completed. You have acquired 10 million experience points as a quest completion reward. You have acquired 10 million tower coins as a quest completion reward. You have completed the duties of a mid-level administrator. You will return to the 55th floor of the tower in 30 seconds. With the message that the quest was completed, Sejun returned to the 55th floor of the tower where he originally was. And then, Peepayak. Uncle, thank goodness. The black rabbit, who had been anxiously waiting for Sejun in his room, felt relieved seeing Sejun along with Theo, Kyungi, and Iona. Day 356 of being stranded. On the evening before the black rabbit's wedding, Sejun safely returned to the White Castle. Have you been well? It's been a long time. The Apostle of Destruction, the Crow of Death, Halfas, spoke leisurely, surrounded by the 9 dragon clan leaders and 900 dragons. HMPH, acting all relaxed are you? Chrysella Hisron, the leader of the Silver Dragons and the one in charge of this matter, scoffed at Halfas. Even though an Apostle of Destruction was incredibly powerful, if 3 of the 9 dragon clan leaders joined forces, they could defeat him. Besides, Halfas was currently in a weaker state than when they had previously confronted him. Is this really being relaxed? What? Chrysella felt something was off seeing Halfas so relaxed. Then, creak. Two additional eyes opened around Halfas's eyes, and G-R-R-R-R-R. Suddenly, Halfas's power doubled. However, even that wasn't enough to stand against the dragons. Was that what made you so confident? Chrysella, seeing Halfas's hidden trump card, felt reassured when. Not yet. Creak. Another pair of eyes opened on Halfas, and his power doubled again. Twice the power, then twice again. Halfas's strength increased fourfold in an instant. Rumble. Halfas began to emit a tremendous power that overwhelmed the dragons surrounding him. Gasp. How can this be? As the dragons panicked under Halfas's overwhelming power. I'll handle this. Gulp. Kaiser spoke to the other dragon and swallowed 4 beans. Chapter 258. Time to wash the scruffy ones. After Sejun went to attend the Black Rabbit's wedding, Kaiser took care of the farm at Sejun's request. The mushroom ants were so diligent and competent that there wasn't much for Kaiser to do, but occasionally. Kwek. What fire ants are invading again? He had to fend off fire ants that occasionally came to kidnap the mushroom ants. Go back. The day before he was to leave for the 10th tower, Kaiser, as usual, sent the fire ants back to their nest and settled back at the fountain. Then, Kwek. One of the mushroom ants cautiously brought something to Kaiser, holding it with its front teeth. Again, enough, give it to Sejun. Every time he chased away the fire ants, the mushroom ants brought him something like an elixir as a token of gratitude, so Kaiser intended to send it back as usual. The effects of the elixir mushroom were too insignificant for Kaiser, and besides, he didn't like mushrooms. However, Kwek. Unlike usual, the mushroom ant did not retreat and stood firm with its antennae held high, showing strong confidence. All right, what is it? Kaiser agreed to take the item, thinking of quickly accepting and sending it back. Thud. The mushroom ant placed a single black bean in front of Kaiser and looked at him with eyes full of expectation. HMPH. No matter how sincere you are, I'm not going to pretend to be surprised by such a trivial item. Kaiser spoke loudly to the mushroom ant while examining the black bean. Transcendence black bean. Right arrow, a black bean grown in the tower, rich in nutrients and delicious. Cultivated by a farmer familiar with agriculture, enhancing its taste and efficiency. Right arrow, it's the bean with the rarest probability of being harvested among the 5 colored beans. Right arrow, when consumed, the Transcendence black bean transcends all levels, activating the effects of the strength yellow bean, stamina red bean, agility green bean, and magical blue bean, with 300% effectiveness. Right arrow, this bean will not sprout when planted. Right arrow cultivator, Tower Farmer Park Sejun. Right arrow shelf life, 150 days. Right arrow grade, A. What? Kaiser was genuinely surprised this time. The description indicated that it transcended all levels and activated the effects of other beans at 300% effectiveness, sending shivers down his spine. Kaiser had previously eaten the magical blue bean, harvested by Sejun from the 5 colored beans. However, the effect was very minimal, increasing Kaiser's magic stat by only 0.5%. Normally, it should have increased the magic stat by 100%, but Kaiser's level was too high for the bean's effect to be fully realized. So he had completely ignored them thereafter, but things would be different with this Transcendence black bean. If I eat this, thinking about the effects of eating the beans, Kaiser's heart swelled with excitement, inevitable for a dragon. It would multiply his already greatly enhanced abilities several times. The Transcendence black bean was indeed an incredible item. It's truly amazing. Kwek. As Kaiser acknowledged the greatness of his gift, the mushroom ant chirped happily and confidently went back down. Then, Kwek. The mushroom ant received congratulations from its peers. In their culture, being acknowledged by a great being for a gift brought them recognition among the mushroom ants. For them, having their gift accepted by the great black dragon was an incredible achievement. I should keep this and get permission from Sejun later. Recognizing its immense value, Kaiser decided to keep the black bean and pay Sejun properly later. Thus, Kaiser kept the Transcendence black bean and a snack of four-colored bean roast with him as he hurriedly headed to the 10th tower. When Kaiser ate 4 beans, tiny compared to his true size, looking almost like dust, Halfas watched with a tense gaze, while the dragons observed with anticipation. They thought Kaiser must have something up his sleeve seeing how confident he was. However, contrary to his confident demeanor, Kaiser's power increased only very slightly. It was such a minor change that no one would feel wronged if asked what had changed. Caw. Halfas mocked Kaiser for his apparent failure. Then, it's not over yet. Gulp. In front of everyone, Kaiser swallowed another bean, a black bean. It was the Transcendence black bean. And then, rumble. The Transcendence black bean transcended all levels, activating the effects of the yellow bean for strength, red bean for stamina, green bean for agility, and blue bean for magic power that Kaiser had eaten earlier, and then enhanced their effects by 300%. What is this all of a sudden? How could Kaiser? Not only Halfas, but also the dragons on the same side were astonished by Kaiser's sudden increase in abilities. Currently, Sejun's beans, classified as A-grade, had an effect that increased all stats by 300% for 1 minute. That meant all stats were increased by 4 times, 1 plus 3. And the effect of the Transcendence black bean activated the 4 colored beans, effects at 300%. In other words, it increased all of Kaiser's already tremendous stats by 12 times, multiplying them 4 times and then 3 times. Moreover, I'll show you hell for 3 minutes. The duration also increased by 300% from 1 minute to 3 minutes. Let's see you struggle. Kaiser instantly moved beside Halfas and began his attack, targeting his neck. It would have been a hellish 3 minutes for Halfas, but crack. To be defeated so easily. Kaiser's overwhelming strength, which he hadn't yet adapted to, led to a mistake. He instantly snapped Halfas's neck, killing him. Uruk. Halfas's dead body turned into red mist and flew towards the direction of destruction. Then, clink. Black coins and tower coins fell from where Halfas died. Collect. Kaiser, Kellyan, and Ramter all exerted their power to collect the coins. However, the coins were all drawn to Kaiser's strong force. That won't work on me. Kaiser collected them all. Isn't that cheating? That's because you ate something. Kellyan and Ramter accused him of being under the influence of something, but the money already in Kaiser's pocket was not coming back out. In this way, thanks to Kaiser's efforts, the dragons defeated the Apostle of Destruction, the Crow of Death, Halfas, and returned to their homelands with the dragons who had been waiting for the rescue team in the 10th tower. And then, let's have a talk. As they approached their territory, the leaders of the other 8 dragon tribes addressed Kaiser. They were very curious about what Kaiser had eaten to become so powerful. Sejun woke up from his sleep and cautiously turned his head to look around. Pipyarong. On his left arm, the black rabbit, who had insisted on sleeping with his uncle the night before the wedding, was using Sejun's arm as a pillow. Keikyurung. On his right arm, Kyungi was also using his arm as a pillow. And then, Gorarung. Theo was sleeping on his lap. Yona, who was always by Theo's side, had spent the night in Chu-Chu's room, who was her disciple. Of course, this was possible because of the Theoball. Bararung. Lastly, the golden bat, not wanting to leave him, was sleeping, embracing Sejun's chest. Black Rabbit, let's wake up. Having checked the positions of the animals, Sejun first woke up the black rabbit. Pipayak. As Sejun woke him up, the black rabbit groggily protested. He wanted to sleep more, but that wasn't possible. Today is the black rabbit's wedding day. As the groom-to-be, the black rabbit had a lot to prepare. Sejun still couldn't quite believe the black rabbit was getting married. Black rabbit, it's time to get up. Rub, rub. Despite his efforts to gently massage and wake the black rabbit. After a while, Pipayak. Uncle, see you later. The black rabbit quickly dashed outside and, all right everyone, time to get up. Sejun began to wake Theo, Kyungi, and the golden bat. Yes, the golden bat, always the most obedient, was the first to wake up. But, Chairman Park, just 5 more minutes, meow. Kroong. Kyungi wants to sleep more. The lazier ones protested. Normally, Sejun would indulge Theo and Kyungi's whining and sleep in with them, but today he and his companions had a lot to do. Splash. All right, scruffy ones, it's time to get clean. Sejun dunked Theo, Kyungi, and the golden bat into the bathtub. They had to be clean to avoid embarrassing the black rabbit. Meow, I'm all wet, meow. Theo, caught off guard and unable to use his water affinity ability, created a fuss being unexpectedly dunked in water, but he was already soaked. Just stay still. Okay, meow. Theo resigned to his fate and Gorarung entrusted his body to Sejun's hands, starting to sleep again. Are you sleeping? Rub, rub. Sejun was slightly annoyed at how comfortably Theo slept during the bath, but he was grateful that Theo stayed still and washed him. Gorarung. After cleaning Theo, who was asleep, Sejun wrapped him in a towel and returned to the bathtub. Kyuehe Kroong. Hehe, is it Kyungi's turn now? Kyungi, eagerly awaiting Sejun's touch, hung on the edge of the bathtub and asked in an excited voice. Yes, come here. Kroong. Okay. Kyungi entrusted his body to Sejun's hands. Rub, rub. Kyuehe. Kyungi chuckled joyfully as Sejun's hands soothingly scrubbed him. It's really fortunate that Kyungi likes baths. Otherwise, bathing Kyungi would have required Pink Fur or the Minotaur King, and a tremendous amount of water. Otherwise, Kyungi, who digs in the earth and roams around every day, would have really become scruffy. All right, Kyungi, go wake up Big Brother and dry off together. After the bath, Sejun placed Kyungi next to Theo. Kroong, kroong. Okay, Big Brother, wake up. Kyungi responded and began to shake Theo awake. What, meow? Theo, who had been sleeping warmly wrapped in a towel, opened his eyes in a groggy state. Kroong. Dad said to dry off with Big Brother. Pew hut, no one can beat Vice Chairman Theo in drying off fur, meow. Hearing Kyungi's words, Theo suddenly got up and then flopped down, vigorously rubbing his body against the towel. It was to wipe off the moisture from his fur. Kroong. Kyungi can dry his fur better than Big Brother. Kyungi followed Theo's lead, energetically rubbing his body against the towel on the floor. A brother determined to win and a younger brother determined to beat his elder. Sejun let them be as they competed in drying themselves. Well, at least they were drying their fur. And then, Golden Bat, come here. Sejun called the Golden Bat for its turn. Yes. As usual, the Golden Bat eagerly swam in the bathtub, approaching Sejun. Scratch, scratch. Being small, the Golden Bat was bathed by Sejun's fingers, gently scratching its body. Pip pip, it feels refreshing. After bathing the Golden Bat and turning around, Pew hut, Vice Chairman Theo won, meow. Kyungi. No, Kyungi won. Both were insisting they had won, even though their fur wasn't completely dry yet. Sai, come here. Dedada. In the end, Sejun had to dry Theo, Kyungi, and the Golden Bat himself, and barely managed to take a shower himself. Pipayak. While Sejun was showering, the attendants brought in suits for Sejun and the animals to wear at the wedding. Unlike Sejun's suit, the animals only had jackets and bow ties. This was the best choice for the animals, as wearing anything more would be uncomfortable for them. S. Sejun dressed first. It fits perfectly. The attendants had taken his measurements upon his arrival, so the suit fit Sejun's body perfectly. After getting dressed, now retract all your claws. Sejun asked the animals to retract their claws to prevent the clothes from tearing. S. And then help them into their jackets. It's stuffy, meow. Krung. It's uncomfortable. Pip. The animals, wearing clothes for the first time, seemed uncomfortable. Wow, our kids look great in their outfits. Sejun soothed and reassured them. Pew hut, I Vice Chairman Theo look good in anything, meow. Krung. Kyungi looks good too. Pip, do I look okay too? The animal mood improved thanks to Sejun's encouraging words. Good, let's go. Pew hut, let's go, meow. Kyuhiha. Pip. Filled with confidence from Sejun's coddling, the animals followed Sejun out of the room. Day 357 of being stranded. Finally, the Black Rabbit's wedding was about to begin. Chapter 259. Do you know who I am? Black Tower, first floor. Kim Dong-sik hurried to the first floor of the tower to convey Park Sejun's words to Sejun's mother, Kim Mi-ran. At that moment, Dong-sik. Someone called out to Kim Dong-sik. It was a familiar voice. Master. It was Han Tae-jun, who had just heard about it from Lexton, who was sent by Kim Dong-sik, and was about to leave for the fourth floor of the tower. Dong-sik, have you not found Sejun Nim? Well, I did meet with Sejun Nim, but... Kim Dong-sik spoke about what happened with Sejun. You mean you fainted because you couldn't withstand Sejun Nim's energy? Yes. Even though I was more than 1 km away from Sejun Nim, I fainted after suffering internal injuries due to his energy. Sejun Nim is that powerful. Han Tae-jun was greatly surprised upon hearing Kim Dong-sik's words. It had been roughly a year since Sejun entered the tower. In such a short time, he had reached an overwhelming realm that no one could approach. Han Tae-jun, who had been thinking of asking Sejun for a sparring match, quickly dismissed the idea. He would faint even before getting close, let alone sparring. Even a face-to-face meeting seemed difficult. Anyway, it turns out that Sejun Nim has secluded himself in the tower to avoid harming others. Master, we must help ensure Sejun Nim doesn't have to leave the tower. If Sejun Nim leaves the tower... Yes, we must help him. Han Tae-jun responded, recalling how the Three-Head Society had once targeted Sejun's family. If the Three-Head Society had not been stopped, and Sejun's family had been killed or kidnapped, Sejun would surely have left the tower, and humanity would have faced a tremendous disaster. It's a huge relief. Han Tae-jun felt relieved that such an incident didn't occur. And then, did Sejun Nim need anything? He asked, looking to take care of Sejun's needs. Actually, Sejun Nim. Kim Dong-sik told Han Tae-jun what Sejun had requested. Of course, a Korean needs kimchi. Han Tae-jun was extremely pleased to hear that Sejun had requested kimchi stew and kimchi. Dong-sik, quickly convey Sejun's message to Mi-ran Nim and then come to me. Why? Feeling a sense of foreboding at Han Tae-jun's instruction to come to him, Kim Dong-sik asked in a quiet voice. Why? It's obviously for special training. Special training all of a sudden. We need to become stronger quickly so that Sejun can comfortably talk with us. Comfortably talk? That seems impossible even in the next life. Kim Dong-sik, who had directly experienced Kyungi's energy, thought to himself. However, he couldn't bring himself to say it out loud. His master was the kind of person who would say, "Then let's die and be reborn," and push him even harder. Give me 5 hours. Stop talking and hurry up and go. Yes. Thus, Kim Dong-sik, with a special training session reserved for him in 5 hours, quickly headed to Sejun's house. At least I'll get to see my family's faces before I go. Kim Dong-sik thought it was really fortunate that his house was next door to Sejun's family's house. On the way from the room to the dining area. Sniff, sniff. Kroong. Dad, Kyungi smell something delicious over there. Kyungi, who had been clinging to Sejun's left leg, got excited upon smelling food. Let's go quickly, meow. I'm hungry too, meow. Pip pip, me too. The other animals also got excited. It made sense they were hungry since they had gotten up and even taken baths, especially Kyungi, who had really been patient. And Sejun felt the same way. He was very hungry after bathing the animals. Let's go quickly. Sejun hastened his steps toward the dining area. As the hungry Sejun and the animals arrived at the dining area. Slurp. Kaiwat, kaiwat, kaiwat. Good morning, everyone. Yona, who had already finished her meal and was drinking coffee, greeted Sejun and the animals. Yona was adorably dressed in a pumpkin-colored dress, wearing a red ribbon around her neck. At the wedding, the dress code was black neckties or ribbons for the groom's side and red for the bride's side. At that moment, rumble, rumble. Kroong. Kyungi's hungry. Kyungi grumbled, clearly hungry. Let have whatever comes out the fastest for now. Kyungi, eat this first. While Sejun was stalling time by giving honey to Kyungi to prevent him from turning from a cute animal into a fierce beast, the servants quickly started bringing out the food. Shortly after the hectic breakfast ended. Now, let's go to the wedding venue. Sejun, with the animals, headed to the wedding venue of Black Rabbit and Choo Choo. Thud, thud. On Sejun's shoulder was the golden bat, and clinging to his leg were Theo, Kyungi, and Iona. As long as Sejun walked, everyone could move together. Arriving at the wedding venue. There was a grand stage with hundreds of tables arranged on either side of the aisle, through which the bride and groom would enter. The venue could accommodate about 3,000 people. Of course, there would be more than 3,000 guests for a royal wedding. This place was for important figures only, and outside the city, in several squares, there were spaces capable of accommodating hundreds of thousands more. So many have already arrived. Although there was still quite some time left before the wedding, more than half of the tables were already filled. As there hadn't been such a large-scale event in the Black Tower recently, many emerging forces seeking to expand their networks were participating. Where is our table? I'll guide you. At Sejun's words, Coco, the leader of the hidden guard, appeared and guided Sejun. As Coco led Sejun to the table at the very front. How dare a blacksmith of your kind come here? A loud voice reached Sejun's ears. Huh. Turning towards the sound, Sejun saw crocodile-headed monsters harassing a penguin. It was a small penguin with a bag and a blue back. Huh, Vice Chairman Theo, isn't that Kona? Sejun recognized Kona and asked Theo. Meow, right, meow. Who dares to harass Kona, the subordinate of Vice Chairman Theo, meow? Chairman Park, let's go and teach them a lesson, meow. Theo, having spotted Kona, got excited and waved his front paws. And then, got it. Sejun hurriedly ran towards Kona. Honey, I'm back. Kim Dong-sik, who had just conveyed Sejun's message to Kim Miran, hurried back home. Honey, I have to go out soon, so could you please prepare some food? Okay. Kim Dong-sik asked his wife to prepare a meal before heading into special training and quickly took a shower. Since he wouldn't be able to leave the tower for at least a month, this was his last shower for a while. After showering and heading to the kitchen, his wife was preparing food, and his daughter Sarang was sitting at the dining table. Sarang, no schedule today. Yeah, it's my day off. While speaking, Kim Dong-sik's daughter Sarang looked intently at his face. Why, is there something on my face? Yes, there's handsomeness on your face, Dad. Ha ha ha, what? Sarang, are you trying to make your dad feel good? Are you short on allowance these days? Feeling pleased by Sarang's comment, Kim Dong-sik laughed and took out his wallet. No, it's not just to make you feel good, Dad. You really look more handsome. Mom, look at Dad's face. Did Dad secretly go for a cosmetic treatment somewhere? Sarang, being a celebrity, immediately recognized the professional touch on Kim Dong-sik's face. What? Oh really? Honey, which clinic is it? Huh? The atmosphere turned somewhat strange. Honey, are you really not going to tell me which clinic it was? No, I didn't go to any clinic. Dad, if it's hard to tell, just tell me secretly. Really, it's not that. Unaware of why he looked more handsome, Kim Dong-sik was relentlessly questioned by his wife and daughter. He barely managed to escape, using his special training as an excuse. Kona, representing the blue-backed penguin tribe, attended the wedding to present a gift they had crafted for the new king of the Red Ribbon Kingdom. Pang, this is delicious. Kona was having a good time eating the exquisite food set up on the tables for the guests waiting for the wedding ceremony. Then, Peng Peng, I should try that too. Kona slightly stood up to reach for some food placed far away, inadvertently pushing the chair a bit. Thud! A huge hammer leaning against the chair fell over. And then, who dares? Who dares to block the path of Elj Cayman, the third prince of the Cayman Kingdom? The handle of the hammer had fallen, blocking the way of a group of crocodile-like people, and their leader, Elj Cayman, began to scold Kona. Peng, I'm sorry. Kona immediately apologized, but seemed puzzled as to why the other party was reacting this way. After all, there was a distance of about 5 meters between where Elj Cayman was passing and the end of the hammer's handle. Even if the hammer had fallen, it wouldn't have affected Elj Cayman's path. Despite Kona's apology, how dare a blacksmith of your kind come here? Elj Cayman's voice grew louder and more disdainful. Pang, sorry, I just came to deliver a gift and then I'll leave. Kona, feeling overwhelmed and apologetic, tried to defuse the situation. Though he had entered the venue under the kingdom's guard's guidance, he felt as if he had done something wrong. However, Elj Cayman wasn't causing this commotion just to receive an apology. Fine. If you're truly sorry, Elj Cayman, the third prince of the Cayman Kingdom, will forgive you by accepting that hammer which blocked my way. From the beginning, Elj Cayman's target was the hammer that Kona had. He decided to seize it the moment he saw the hammer emitting an extraordinary aura. Peng, no, I can't. This hammer is a gift for the king of the Red Ribbon Kingdom. Kona, momentarily flustered by Elj Cayman's words, hurriedly grabbed the hammer and protested. HMPH, what kind of hammer is this to be presented as a gift? Isn't it too big for His Majesty the Black Rabbit who's becoming king? That's... Kona, feeling indignant as the hammer crafted by all the master artisans of the blue-backed penguin tribe was being belittled, tried to respond earnestly. There's no need to listen, seize that hammer. Yes. Before Kona could even finish his sentence, Elj's subordinates moved to snatch the hammer away. It was an incredibly rude act for a prince from another kingdom to try to steal a gift meant for a king. However, all the guests nearby turned a blind eye to Elj Cayman's actions. The Cayman Kingdom, located on the 84th floor of the tower, was one of the top 2 military powers among the kingdoms in the Black Tower. If they recklessly intervened and caused trouble, leading to the mobilization of the Cayman Kingdom's military, their own forces could be completely wiped out from the Black Tower. Heh, who would dare to mess with me? Elj Cayman thought smugly. The real powers that could dominate the Black Tower would only arrive just before the ceremony starts, so for now, this place was like Elj's own playground where he could do as he pleased. He had already stolen dozens of gifts meant for the Black Rabbit, and nobody dared to oppose him. Pang, this isn't right. As Kona helplessly watched the hammer, meant to be a gift for the Black Rabbit, being snatched away. Stop! Sejun, who had hurriedly come over, shouted at Elj Cayman. What kind of bullying is this, and to dare steal something meant for the Black Rabbit? As Sejun fumed with anger. How dare such a lowly creature raise his voice at me? Do you know who I am? Elj Cayman arrogantly scolded Sejun with a domineering voice. This guy. Infuriated by being called lowly, Sejun's anger blazed even more. But contrary to his burning heart, his mind became colder. "No, I don't know who you are, but do you know who I am?" Sejun asked back, his voice cold and composed, facing Elj Kamen. Chapter 260. I Vice Chairman Theo, don't make the same mistake twice, meow. While Sejun was engaged in a nerve-wracking standoff with Elj Kamen. "Kona, are you all right, meow?" "Peng, Lord Theo." Theo was looking after his subordinate, Kona. At that moment, "Do you even know who I am?" Sejun's voice, questioning Elj Kamen, reached Theo's ears. Sejun, trusting Theo and Kyungi who were hanging onto his leg, was actually warning Elj Kamen not to mess around, but "Chairman Park, this is frustrating, meow. How does this guy know Chairman Park, huh? Pew hut. It seems that I, Vice Chairman Theo, must step in and introduce Chairman Park, meow." Theo thought Sejun was genuinely expecting an answer from the opponent. "Pew hut. If you're asking who Chairman Park is, it's only right to answer, meow. Since you seem to not know him, I, Vice Chairman Theo, the great right hand of Chairman Park, will introduce him, meow." Theo, hanging on Sejun's leg, was revving up to introduce Sejun, and Sejun watched with a subtle anticipation to hear what Theo would say. However, "What's with this poop-colored cat? Get lost." Already irritated at being challenged by someone he deemed insignificant, Elj Kamen was further annoyed by another meddling figure and shouted at Theo with a voice full of annoyance. "Hawk, shut up, meow. Thwack. How dare you call me the Golden Cat Theo Park, poop-colored, meow." Enraged, Theo moved swiftly and knocked out Elj Kamen with a blow to the face after being called poop-colored. "Chairman Park is none other than my master, the great black dragon's subordinate, the deadly dragon clawed Golden Cat Theo Park, meow." Theo proudly introduced Sejun to Elj Kamen's guards. "Ta-da!" While pointing at Sejun with his two front paws, Theo signaled his siblings to do the same. "Join in, meow." "Krung." Following Theo's lead, Kyungi pointed at Sejun with his front paws, and the golden bat did the same with its wings. This certainly made Sejun stand out more than before. Introducing someone not as someone's right hand, but as the right hand's someone. This unique introduction method could only be used when the right hand's reputation was high. After hearing Theo's words, Elj Kamen's guards still knew nothing about Sejun. But Golden Cat Theo Park. They clearly heard the term Golden Cat. Golden Cat Theo Park, a hot new star in the Black Tower recently, known for resolving the merchant passageway disappearance case and saving the life of the legendary merchant Urin. But more impressive than that was the vast network of Golden Cat Theo Park. Friend of the 99th floor boss of the tower, the Minotaur King. Lover of the great wizard of destruction, Iona. Benefactor of the legendary merchant Urin. Each connection in his network was truly incredible. Moreover, there was a recent rumor that one of the top 3 beauties of the Black Tower, the legendary merchant Mimmer, offered her fur to get closer to Golden Cat Theo Park. If such Golden Cat Theo Park is the right hand of that man. Elj Kamen's guards realized something was terribly wrong as they looked at Sejun. At that moment, "Chairman Park, here it is, meow." Theo, who had swiftly obtained Elj Kamen's thumbprint, brought a blank contract to Sejun. "Huh, this is Vice Chairman Theo, well done." Sejun praised Theo upon seeing the contract. "Pew hut, of course, meow. I'm an excellent Vice Chairman, meow." While Theo, pleased with Sejun's praise, nuzzled his face into Sejun's lap. SSSH. Sejun began to fill out the blank contract. While Sejun was writing on the blank contract brought by Theo. You guys. It would have been better if he had stayed unconscious. Elj Kamen woke up, thanks to the protective items he was wearing. "Do you realize what you've done? How dare you mess with the third prince of the Kamen Kingdom? Do you understand? This means war." Elj Kamen, unaware that his slave contract was being processed, began to spout as soon as he stood up. "Your Highness." The guards hurried to shut Elj Kamen's mouth, but "Let go, I need to show these brats what fear is." Elj Kamen was already blinded by rage. But in reality, it seemed like they, the guards of Elj Cayman, were the ones about to witness something terrifying. Meanwhile, Grrrr. As Elj Cayman emitted a murderous intent towards Sejun and the animals, he only aggravated the situation. Gulp. Exposed to Elj Cayman's murderous intent, Sejun inadvertently swallowed his saliva, showing his discomfort. It was bearable but unpleasant. And as Sejun showed his discomfort, meow, krung, pip, kaiwo, the animals sensitively reacted to Sejun's state and emitted their own killing intent. Of course, having learned through much experience to always take care of Sejun, the animals ensured that Sejun was not exposed to their killing intent. Press. Theo placed one of his front paws on Sejun's leg and continued to heal him with healing magic. Whir. Kyungi enveloped Sejun's surroundings with telekinesis. The golden bat emitted an incredibly high-frequency sound, inaudible to Sejun, to protect him. Barrier. Iona used magic to block the murderous intent directed at Sejun. Thanks to them, Sejun was in a state as peaceful as if he were wearing noise-canceling headphones, but shiver, shiver, shiver. Elj Cayman, the focus of the animal's killing intent, couldn't even faint due to his high-quality protective gear and shook uncontrollably, wetting his pants. That's the great wizard of destruction, Iona. Elj Cayman, who belatedly noticed Iona on Theo's tail, realized something had gone terribly wrong. Who have I provoked? Just as Elj Cayman realized Sejun was no ordinary individual. Greetings, Lord Sejun. Ulrich, the king of the Black Orcs, approached Sejun and greeted him respectfully. Ah, Ulrich, you're here. Yes, greetings to you too, Lord Theo. That's right, meow. Is my subordinate Ulrich doing well, meow? And then, Lord Sejun, greetings, we have arrived as well. Hegel, the chieftain of the Black Wolf tribe, and Elka, the chieftain of the Silver Wolf tribe, also approached to greet Sejun. Hi, hello. While Sejun was exchanging greetings, Quiek, Ook, Doodle, the chestnut hedgehog, banana monkey, and the moles, upon spotting Sejun, hurried towards him. And then, pause, after a moment of surprise upon seeing Elj Cayman. Quiek, Ook, Doodle, great black dragon, Lord Sejun, that guy stole the gifts meant for the Black Rabbit King. They grinned and whispered into Sejun's ear about Elj Cayman's misdeeds. After all, on one side was just a third prince from a kingdom on the 84th floor of the tower, but on the other was the great black dragon ruling the Black Tower. What? He stole more gifts meant for the Black Rabbit. Quiek, Ook, Doodle. The animals vigorously nodded in response to Sejun's question. This guy was a real scoundrel. Doodle. My friend's gift was also stolen. Other friends were stolen too, got it. Bring everyone who was robbed. Quiek, Ook, Doodle. As the animals left to bring the additional victims who had their belongings stolen by Elj Cayman. SSSH. Sejun began to add more content to the blank contract. When the leaders of the 9 dragon tribes gathered at the residence of the silver dragon Chrysella Hisron and took their places. Kaiser, tell us now, what did you eat earlier? Chrysella, acting as the spokesperson, asked Kaiser. First, if you want to hear my answer, give me all your tower coins. Tower coins? Well, all right. When Kaiser asked for the seemingly useless tower coins as the price for his information, the dragons readily handed over all the tower coins they possessed to him. You too should contribute as well. Kaiser reached out his hand to Kellyan and Ramter. Stingy guy. So stingy. Kellyan and Ramter, aware of Kaiser's scheme but unable to resist, complied. Hell, thanks. Thanks to this, Kaiser managed to collect a little over 10 billion tower coins. Adding the money he earned from defeating Halfas earlier, it seemed like he would have around 25 billion tower coins. Now tell us. All right, That was a bean obtained from the 5 colored beans grown by our tower farmer. That bean was grown by the tower farmer. The dragon stirred at Kaiser's words. Until now, the crops grown by the tower farmer were just minor snacks for the dragons, nothing of great significance. They were something to boast about when occasionally meeting with other dragons. However, if the tower farmer's crops could explosively enhance the dragon's abilities, that changed everything. With Kaiser's words, the atmosphere among the dragons completely shifted. 6 dragons who were thinking of having their own tower farmers grow crops similar in effect to what Kaiser had consumed. And my grandson Ajax, sigh, I need to quickly gather money to reserve those beans from Sejun. With the cost of liquor and beans, I need to earn a lot of money. 2 dragons opted to solve it with money. And then, with this money I can make our Sejun stronger, right? One dragon who wasn't interested in the crops, but wanted to use the money to strengthen the tower farmer. Well, I have things to do, so I must leave now. Me too. Me as well. With that, the dragons, now in a hurry, quickly returned to their respective domains. These fools, just you wait. Elj Cayman, despite having spotted the great wizard of destruction Iona, did not lose hope. Ulrich, the king of the Black Orcs with an army of 5 million. Hegel and Elka, the leaders of the Black and Silver Wolf mercenary group, who were recently gaining fame in the tower. The leaders of these 2 forces appeared and respectfully greeted the seemingly insignificant figure before them, behaving like subordinates, but Elj Cayman held on to hope. He believed the military aspect could be resolved soon with the arrival of his father's sworn brother. The only remaining issue was one thing. If I just steal that. SSSH. Elj Cayman eyed Sejun, who was writing on the blank contract, waiting for an opportunity. If he could just snatch the contract bearing his print and use a contract nullification potion, all his problems would be solved. At that moment, Uncle Hannibal, please help me. I am Elj Cayman, the 3rd prince of the Cayman Kingdom. Elj Cayman called out to a giant humanoid tiger who had just arrived at the wedding venue. His father Croker Cayman's sworn brother and the chairman of the Mercenary Association, Hannibal. Being the chairman of the Mercenary Association, Hannibal was on the same level as Iona, one of the leaders of the 3 major forces, and could exert a strong influence on the Black and Silver Wolf mercenary group, which was also a group of mercenaries. With this, the balance of power is set. But what's with the atmosphere? Don't tell me you guys messed with my nephew. SSSSHHH. Hannibal, the butcher of battlefields, raised his killing intent at his nephew's call for help. The atmosphere at the wedding venue instantly turned cold again. Kaiwo. Hannibal, your nephew was the one who crossed the line first. That's right, let's talk it out first. Chairman, you're making a mistake. Yona, Hegel, and Elka tried to persuade Hannibal. If you say so, I will listen first. For the first time witnessing Iona's stage 4 fury, Hannibal softened his stance. Knowing Hegel and Elka weren't the type to cause trouble, he decided to have a discussion first. Just as Hannibal was about to resolve the matter through discussion. Swoosh. Elj Cayman, seizing the moment, used a teleportation item to move beside Sejun and poured the contract nullification potion on the contract. The effectiveness of a contract nullification potion decreases with the higher status of the contract holder and the longer duration of the contract. However, the rank of the opponent was low enough for him to feel insignificant, and the contract duration was short, as it was made just a moment ago. The chance of nullifying the contract was 100%. However, swoosh. The contents of the contract did not disappear. What? How can this be? Elj Cayman was flustered. What's this? Why are there 2 names? Party A, Aileen Pratani Park Sejun. Party B, Elj Cayman. He belatedly discovered there was another name in the Party A section of the contract. Theo, having been tricked once by Mimmer, had learned his lesson, Aileen, please sign this, meow. Before handing over the contract to Sejun, Theo had obtained Aileen's seal. With Aileen's exalted status, the chances of the contract being nullified were almost zero. Pew hut, I Vice Chairman Theo, don't make the same mistake twice, meow. Theo, placing his front paws proudly on his waist, laughed triumphantly.